morning. Happy Wednesday, everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. It is an overcast, kind of pleasant day today in Mesa, Arizona. The kind of day that I would love to get out and play some golf, but looks like that's not going to happen today because I got work to do and I got shit to do. Hump day, everybody. I hope you get your humps on. Reminder tomorrow, and we'll announce this at the end, but tomorrow there will be no show. I get to go enjoy the pleasures of the court system. And I'm very excited to do so. There's nothing I would rather do than go to court tomorrow and prepare a case the rest of the day. So super pumped for that. It's going to be great, but I'm happy. I'm excited for today's show. We got a lot of shit to cover today. Thank you for being patient with me. I do have my daughter on Wednesday and Friday morning, so sometimes it's just a little difficult. I love her too much to tell her no, and so the show is almost always late on Wednesdays and Fridays, so I apologize for that. Hi, Jennifer.
Good morning, sunshine.
How was your birthday?
It was good. Just hung out.
I wanted to talk to you about something about your birthday.
Okay.
I sent Jen dinner last night. I DoorDashed Jen some dinner last night for her birthday with Spawn. Who the fuck DoorDashes salmon?
Me.
That's crazy.
It's good. I didn't realize we were judging. I mean, right
no,
now.
I'm judging.
That's rude. That's rude.
I saw how far away it was too. Is it cold by the time it got to you?
No, it's not that far. What are you talking about? It's like
took a long time.
15 minutes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's just because DoorDash is lame.
Okay.
So
I would be furious if I was the DoorDash driver. My whole ass car smelling like salmon.
Well, I mean, it was cherry salmon, so it was sweet.
I don't think that changes anything.
It does. I mean,
it does.
Sure.
All right. I was just baffled by that order. I've never thought. I love fish. I've never thought once in my life to DoorDash. I won't even DoorDash. Like I don't DoorDash much because I'm a broke boy that has to pay court fees. But I won't even DoorDash sushi.
Well, then there's. I mean, and I DoorDash sushi lots of times actually in the last week. In the last week, Duke and I ordered sushi. Actually, we had DoorDash.
Look at us name dropping multiple times. Look at us name dropping Duke. You guys moved in? Have you guys moved in together yet?
No. Swan would have a heart attack.
Oh, good. So they
haven't met yet.
Okay, good. Because she was there last night, so he wouldn't be there like this morning.
Swan was home last night, but people are asking where Duke is, and
yeah, probably at his house, right? Because you guys aren't.
Sure, I mean, sure. Or he could
if you were to put something on speakerphone right now, and I were to say, "Hey, Duke," what would happen?
I would answer with, "How's it going today?"
It's the Duke. I knew it. I fucking knew it. Happy birthday, Jennifer. Did the Duke?
Right. Yes.
Duke, did you sleep over?
I did not. I came over this morning.
All right. Got a couple questions for you. What's your social security number? That's the first question.
I'll get right on that.
We've been over this. I haven't got that yet, but you know. Spawn is getting her hair done. So.
What are you? What are you guys gonna? Are you gonna pay attention during the show? I have the sneaking suspicion you won't be quick on the sources today, Jennifer.
How often do you ask me for sources? So are you going to try to test me today?
I think more than you know. I think more than you know. I do think you check out more than I think you do.
Casey goes, well, looks like I'm in charge.
Yeah, Casey's fact checking today. I guess that's what we're doing. All right. Well,
in fairness, you'll ask for like a fact check or some shit, and you don't really want it. You just say it, and then half the time you don't even use it when I actually
I forget what they are. It's happened yesterday. You sent me the link and I couldn't remember what it was. I didn't remember what I asked.
Yeah. So there's all that. So yeah, that's, I mean,
all right.
But yeah, no, so we weren't able, he decided to go and hurt himself on my birthday. So we couldn't see each other yesterday. So
a lot of people are accusing Duke of lying about sleeping over.
He did not stay over. Would you like, not everybody can see it, but I could show you the evidence on the Ring camera that when he got here. So.
No, I trust you implicitly, Jennifer.
Sure you do.
But do you guys have any, right now is the Ask Me Anything for Duke? Go ahead and ask any questions you want. Make them as personal as possible. What's your credit score, Duke?
It fluctuates.
Been there, my friend. Where are you? Where are you originally from? Unless you don't want to give any of this information, that's also fine.
Northern California.
Northern California.
Okay. Do you like the 49ers?
I'm not actually a big football guy. I like motorcycles.
Okay. Like, do you watch like motocross?
Yeah, motocross is kind of my thing.
All right. Favorite rider?
I'm kind of a big fan of Hayden Deegan right now. He's a kind of a newer guy. He's younger, but he's a bit of a punk, but he's fast.
I don't know why I asked that question. I don't know any. I don't know any like motocross people.
I thought you said your favorite writer, like books. I was like,
oh yeah, can you read?
Yeah, I can get through a book or two.
Nice, dude. What's the last book you read?
I don't know. I'm currently in a book right now.
Is that a metaphor?
Don't make things weird. Don't make things weird.
Watch out, man. You can get paper cuts. That's tough. Yeah. What's your favorite Bible verse?
Yeah, I'm not I wouldn't be able to recite one of those.
I like that about you. Okay. Anything else you guys need to know before we get started? Casey wants to know your shoe size.
Yeah, I'm size 10.
Size 10. All right. That's big, guys. That's a big shoe size.
Is that your shoe size?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's big.
You got big feet, James.
Thank you.
You're tall and you wear big shoes.
We're saying green flag, not knowing Bible verses. I agree with that. Jen put a ring on him. What book are you currently reading? Danny's going to press you. What are you currently reading?
I think it's called Red Wings. I don't know. It's a newer, I like kind of nonfiction stuff.
Red Wings book. Okay. What's it about?
It's like a futuristic world on Mars. I don't know. It's kind of, like I said, it's nonfiction fantasy, kind of new world stuff.
Jonathan Hickman. Is that who it is?
You know, I didn't even read the author's name. I just read the title.
It says a sci-fi comic miniseries. I just Googled it. All right. I like it. How do you feel about Elon Musk?
Yeah, I'm getting questioned. The big question.
Yeah.
I like some parts, but I'm not a outright fan.
Okay. Not bad. It's not a bad answer. I don't know.
People are asking, am I scary in person?
No, she's nice to me.
Do you know that everybody is terrified of her? Is that surprising to you?
No, I could see that when I've listened to the show.
When you listen to the show, not in person.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Are you a little bit terrified of her?
Not at all.
Oh, you should be. You should keep a healthy fear. Do you know what happened to her last husband? You know he's not around, right?
Yeah,
okay,
I do
just saying.
No, but
keep a healthy fear.
I'm not scared yet.
Okay, got it. All right. Anything else, Jen, you guys want to add before we get started? Duke, it's a pleasure to meet you. We all love Jen. She hates all men, so you must be a nice guy if she likes you. So I appreciate you being a good sport, and it's really nice to meet you.
Yeah.
He's a Leo. Illusion. He's a Leo like me. So
I don't know what that means. Oh, you're probably responding to the chat. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, not you. All right. Well, we can get going.
All right.
Since is he coming tonight? No, he's not tonight.
I bet he is.
Maybe not tonight, but we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe during the first segment. Yeah. All right, go do your thing, Jen. I'm sorry. That was I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't expect anything else from you. Let's be honest. All right, welcome everybody. We are. You're so tickled with yourself. I can see it.
No, I'm fucking embarrassed out of my mind. This is the worst. I'm trying to be funny, and it's just I hate this shit. So I apologize to everybody listening.
Anyways, all right. Well, welcome everybody. We're a little later today, but that's not surprising. So we are live on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube, possibly Facebook. We've got the gift goal that we need to hit each day. Since we're not going to be here tomorrow, if we want to exceed the gift goal, that would be cool. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all go towards knocking out that gift goal. The pay links are preferred, Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal. So they take less from us, but anything is accepted, all appreciated. If you're not a subscriber, you should become one. We have a members-only event tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to watch, and I know you've said this 1,000 times, but I refuse to remember.
Life, Larry, and the Pursuit of Unhappiness. But we're watching that CNN documentary.
Okay, which one? What's that documentary?
I'm going to look it up right now while you continue the announcements.
Got it. So yeah, so if you're a paid member, you can join us for the member only event tonight. And like I said, it's at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in Discord. If you are opposition and disagree with RTV, which I'm surprised, I haven't seen much opposition quite yet.
How could you?
Shut up. You're so dumb.
No. Sorry. No, I'm saying how could you disagree with me? Not how could you. I meant it for me. I apologize.
Anyways, if you guys disagree with RTV and like to come up and have a conversation, how you do that, you send me a message on Discord. My Discord is the same as the Venmo. Jen with 2 N's, Dub with TV is the number 1. And I can bring you on and have a conversation. Check out the link in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We got merch, Jay's on Cameo. We got these episodes to Spotify. Do you know why lawyers don't like boxers?
Spring bell. I don't know.
They prefer briefs.
That was so stupid. I love that one. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, Jen, do me a favor before you go. You still there? Jennifer?
What? Sorry, say again.
Yeah, what? Already? Just I was just going to remind you to mute your mic.
Hold on. What? One more.
I was just going to remind you to mute your mic.
Shut up.
And we'll see you in we'll see you when we see you, and we'll all be judging Duke, if you can hear this, we'll all be judging how long this break is between now and when we hear from Jen the next. So do your best, and welcome to the RTP family. You're always welcome here.
Bye for now.
Bye. I did make somebody mad in the chat. What are you doing, JJ Love? What are you doing? That is JJ Love 777 Bree. That feels like somebody who's been around for a while, though. Doesn't that feel like insider information on that username on YouTube there? JJ Love 777 Bree. Why don't I debate any right-leaning influencers? Because they won't debate me. I've debated them. I mean, I've debated Andrew Wilson. I've debated what was his dumbass friend's name? Why do I forget that guy's fucking name? Rob Noor. I wanted to say Door. Noor. I don't know. I've debated that pisses his pants older millennial. I've debated everybody on TikTok. I don't know. Anyway, I'll debate anybody anytime. So you don't debate. Oh, okay. Never mind. I don't debate. Sorry. Turns out I don't. In fact, I'm so willing to debate that I am willing to stop. I do a 3.5 hour live stream every single day. I'm willing to stop my live stream every single day. If somebody wants to call in and debate any topic with me, you just message Jen Dub. That's the same as the Venmo username there. Just message her on Discord and she'll bring you up. Everybody can hear your voice. You can make your argument. I'll pull up the sources for you, whatever you need. We'll make this easy on you. Jen might be delayed in getting to your messages right now, but you're welcome to debate anytime. And if you have a suggestion of somebody you would like me to debate, you can either bring that up to me or you can go to any moderator, anybody who holds moderated debate spaces, and you can ask them to bring me on their show, and I will happily go on their show. I've done a bunch with Raging Tomato. She consistently asks me to debate on that channel, but so far, none of the things have been topics that I was really super interested in debate. It was a lot of religion debates and like ideological debates, and I'm not really an ideologue, so they don't seem very fun for me. But you're welcome to come up anytime. And JJ, I hope your day gets better. I'm sure that it definitely will get better. You seem like a totally rational, sane human being with not having a bad day. Yesterday, we talked about I think it was yesterday because my mom texted me. We were talking about my significant other. Some of you have asked whether or not my significant other will be a guest on the stream. She will not. I will not do that. I am very careful about my personal life and family life, and I don't bring people on the stream. Perhaps a members only event. She'll jump in and just talk, but not live on the stream. We talked about the Dallas Cowboys and how if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, fuck you. And I just wanted to show this. This is CD Lamb. He's probably your best player. And he's afraid of bees. And so this was him at practice yesterday. Fantasy demigod CD Lamb. All right. So that's your team. They're definitely making the playoffs this year. They're definitely going to be great. He's afraid of bees, and I look at the outfit. I'm like, he's good. And then that's a lot of open skin. And that backside, that like hamstring. Can you imagine getting a bee sting on the hamstring? That would suck. They're practicing catching blinds since Jerry won't put up blinds on those windows. They're practicing being surprised by a ball because Dak Prescott is terrible. Amy Lynn said the chicken shits won't come up. They have bone spurs. I've heard that about the Republicans who love to complain about me not debating. I have heard that they all have bone spurs, and that's why they can't join Discord and message Jen on Discord. But once again, that's JENNDUBB1 on Discord. She will happily bring you up, and you can debate anything you want to. Brianna said, why do we never hear of a trampoline factory going under? They always bounce back. Well done, Brianna. Thank you. All right, let's get into actual shit. This just made me laugh. These are two people that I fucking hate, but it's a weird thing. Sneeko here he's now a devout Muslim. I don't think he was always Muslim. I don't know if he converted, but he didn't talk about it. He clearly has some handlers, and he's got some people who are teaching him some good shit. This is James Fishback over on the right. He's a Republican candidate for governor. He is a white nationalist, Groyper adjacent, though I think he and Nick Fuentes have some sort of beef, so maybe the Groypers don't like him, but they share the same ideology. And Sneeko was upset because James Fishback said that if you are a Muslim, you should be deported. And the only reason I'm showing you this is because I want to show you what happens when you bring a coward in front of somebody that he kind of likes, that he respects. All racists are cowards. All white nationalists are cowards. All Groypers are cowards. Anybody who others people and is afraid of people because of their identity just is, by definition, a coward. And I wanted you to see how quickly James Fishback backs down from his rhetoric.
James, I'm live.
What's up, man?
Got back from Dearborn. It's just like the Middle East and has the best food you must visit.
I will. What's up, James?
Not much. Sounds like I don't have your vote anymore.
Well, you want me deported?
Sneeko, what I said was that calls to spread Islamism in America, if that's genuinely what anyone wants to do, then those people would be better off spreading that in the Middle East. What I said.
Where's Catholicism from, James?
This nation was founded on the principles found in the Old and New Testament.
That's such a good question. Where was Catholicism founded? Was that Rome? Isn't that in? They'll get to this later, but like, there's this weird movement of Catholics. And I know Andrew Wilson's not a Catholic. Actually, I don't think JD Vance is a Catholic. I think Peter Thiel might be a Catholic. There's this weird movement with Catholics right now that they're talking about like restoring America to the Roman Catholic Church. which doesn't make any sense because almost all of the founding fathers were Protestants. And if you like, it's not like it's a different religion. The Protestant churches, if you're not religious, like the Protestant churches are a lot of different churches. You have you have the Lutherans, you have followers of Calvinism, you have the Baptists, you have there's the Pentecostal church. They're called Protestants. They were protesting. Their churches were all protest churches. They were protesting the Church of England and centralized power in general. Like our founding fathers were vehemently against some sort of centralized religion. So all these Catholic, like white nationalists, their argument is so fucking weak. I don't even know why they use that argument. It wasn't that long ago that John F. Kennedy was the first, I believe, he was the first Catholic president, I believe. Is that correct? Somebody double check that. And it was like a problem. People were like, oh no, like we can't have a Catholic as president because then the Vatican will run the country. It's the same criticism they gave to Mitt Romney when he was running. They're like, oh, he's a Mormon. Then the Mormons, because he is more loyal to his church than he is to the country. But Catholicism being like part of our founding is silly. Like the people that founded this country were overwhelmingly Protestant.
You didn't answer my question. Where's Catholicism from?
That was right. Okay, thank you.
What we're talking about is whether or not you want to spread, or anyone, by the way, I didn't even say you, I said anyone who would want to spread Islamism in America. There are countries that are receptive to Islamism. They are in the Middle East. Actually, a few of them are in Africa, and many of them are actually in South Asia. And I think it's a very clear statement that if you want to spread Islamism, or anyone wants to, you're far better off doing that in societies that are receptive to it. That's it.
Isn't our society supposed to be receptive to that, though? Isn't that like a foundation of our society? You can have whatever religious beliefs you want. That like foundational to our Constitution.
So I shouldn't be deported.
First off, you're a U.S. citizen, so I don't even know legally how that would work.
Whoop. Oh, notice he didn't say no, you shouldn't be deported. He said, well, you're a citizen, so I don't know how that would work.
Second off, I'm running for governor. I don't have control over immigration policy. Third off,
still not a no.
Any foreign political ideology that Americans are opposed to, like
Catholicism.
Americans aren't opposed to Catholicism.
Well, it's not about Americans. It's a foreign religion, right? It's based in the Vatican, not America.
Catholicism is not based in the Vatican. Catholicism is a worldwide religion. The seat of Peter is in the Vatican. But look, I'm just calling that.
So the Vatican.
I'm calling to say hi. I saw you said some stuff about us. In any event, my view is really simple, and it wasn't actually even directed at any one particular person. It is that a political and religious ideology known as Islamism, that being spread in the United States is not something that's well received. It's not something that's welcomed. And those who intend to do that, no matter what party they're in, no matter who they are.
Seat of Peter, wipe that up. Illusion. Why's Peter leaving his seat in the Vatican? Do it in private, you sick fuck. Amy said, wouldn't the U.S. go back to Native American spiritual beliefs? Yeah, you would think so, yeah.
Have a better chance of being successful at that in other countries, and we shouldn't welcome that in America. It's just that simple, man.
Okay, well, what is Islamism? You keep saying this.
Listen, I just saw that you said some stuff.
That's a good point. Islam is also a worldwide religion, so is Mormonism. Like any church that, especially if they go out and they proselytize, they're going to be worldwide religions.
I just wanted to call, again, I just wanted to say that at the end of the day, we all want what's best for the United States of America. And I think that a political ideology that is not consistent with the founding values of this country.
Like Catholicism. The founding fathers were majority Protestant if they were Christian. The rest were deists. Some of them were Freemason. Protestant Christians were literally protesting the Catholic Church. That's where Protestant comes from. They were protesting that Catholic monarchy. And so you're a Catholic. That doesn't found any basis from the founding fathers.
John Carroll signed the Declaration of Independence. He was Catholic. But look.
No, there was one guy. What's Sharia law? What is Sharia law? Did you mean Sharia law, Sobi? I grew up Mormon, so the multiple wives thing, there were a lot of multiple wives in the state that I grew up. Basically, everybody in my state is a descendant of people with multiple wives, so we did that. But it is illegal here in the United States. So if you were here and you were a practicing Muslim, just like being a practicing Mormon, you cannot have multiple wives because the law supersedes your religious beliefs. Now, we could change it if we wanted, but that has been the law. We've already done this with a religion in the United States. polygamy is outlawed.
I digress, man. I digress. Again.
In fact, by the way, the way that they did it is the United States government told the Mormons, stop practicing polygamy or we're coming to Utah and we're going to take over your entire state. And they sent the military to Utah. And the military was marching to Utah. And the polygamists in Utah all ran. And the leadership of the church in Utah basically sent word to the government that's like, okay, we'll stop. We'll stop. Everybody's gone. And many of them fled to Arizona. And a lot fled across the border into Mexico, which is actually where the Romneys come from. The Romneys, Mitt Romney is descendants of polygamists who fled to Mexico. I don't remember if his dad or his grandfather was the one that had polygamous parents, but that's where Mitt Romney came from. That's why I believe he was born in Mexico.
This is, I think, the issue with much of our politics these days is it becomes too personal as opposed to the big picture issue, which is Islamism is welcome in other countries in the world.
You keep saying, what is it? You keep saying this word Islamism. We haven't defined it. What is that?
It's a well understood term, actually. It's well defined in scholarly research and academic literature. My point is this, man, is at the end of the day, we need to remember what this fight is really.
No, they didn't flee just because the multiple wives were children. I don't think they really cared that much about that, honestly. I don't know. Somebody look. I don't know how common it was for 16-year-olds to get married, but I know it wasn't as uncommon as it is now. That was happening all over the country, but I'm sure that was part of it. But polygamy in general, there were a lot of wives of Mormon men who had either lost their spouse. There was a lot of wives that joined the Mormon church, and so then they were told that they couldn't be married to their spouse anymore. They needed to marry somebody else, so they became like plural wives of somebody else. What's that called? Is that polyandry? I think it's called polyandry.
Really about, and that's all that I would say. And like I said, I just wanted to.
Well, if you're against the tech cabal because you don't want Peter Thiel to be putting data centers in Florida, then when Elon Musk, a trillionaire African migrant, calls for my deportation, and you follow that populist rhetoric that's going viral on X, it sounds like you have picked a side. And so if you're really against the tech cabal, then you wouldn't be repeating that propaganda from Elon.
No, not polyamory. I think that's multiple partners. I think polyandry refers to them actually being spouses. Somebody can check that. Like if you're taking a spouse from somebody else, so you're marrying a married person, I think it's called polyandry. Did anybody look that up?
I didn't repeat any propaganda from Elon. In fact, I'm one of the few people that stood up to Elon when he did a lot of the craziness.
All right, that was basically it. We don't have to listen to Sneeko and Fishback anymore. Romney was born in Detroit. I thought he was born in Mexico. Was Mitt Romney born in Mexico? Oh, his father was born in Mexico. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. George Romney. Thank you. Good correction. Who got that? Candy Cane X? Thank you. God, I fucking worked for that guy and I got that wrong. That's embarrassing. See, maybe I don't love Mitt as much as you guys think I do. All right. I just liked this take. Andrew Callahan had on this person. I don't know who this person is. I'm not vouching for this person. I have no idea who this person is. But Andrew Callahan of Channel 5 News represents like a pretty large and growing segment of I guess what, Gen X or Gen Z, I mean. And this was a really, really interesting take he had on JD Vance.
I think Israel fucking killed Charlie Kirk. I absolutely do.
I think Israel killed Charlie Kirk to see what would happen when they killed Trump.
I'm not saying this, TikTok. This is somebody else saying it.
You think Trump's ear shooting was staged?
Totally.
Yeah.
But I'm saying Vance is the ultimate Palantir Israel first candidate.
Okay.
He's the clavicular of politics.
Do you think he's behind a lot of this?
I think that all the powers that be, the actual people behind the curtain, which is the tech oligarchs that are connected to Israel.
Let me just answer this, Sobi, before we get on. A bunch of people ask this. When you say who should we be voting for, you should vote for whoever has the best ideas, and you should stop lumping people in with terms like socialist or communist or moderate. You should look at their policies and look at who they're running against and decide which one has better policies. It'll make your life a lot easier. Then you don't have to then you don't get stuck voting in a block. You don't get stuck like pigeonholed into one area. It seems like a lazy way to vote, to be like, should I vote? Oh, they say Democratic Socialists, so I can't vote for them? That's silly.
The corporate establishment are priming Vance to be the ultimate AI Israel candidate. They think Trump's sort of like a dumb old mobster uncle with like gold toilets who just like dances around. And they liked him when he had a lot of energy. But I think, you know, before Charlie Kirk died, he was an extremely polarizing figure. You had people like Nick Fuentes and other people on the further, I guess, anti-Zionist right. being like, fuck Charlie Kirk, all groypers go to his events, disrupt everything, like he's a bitch, nobody fucked with him, right? And then they killed him and everyone's in tears. All of his haters, Sam Hyde is crying, Nick Fuentes is crying. You got people who were shitting on this guy for fucking money every day, crying their heart out, talking about the left has gone too far, look at what the left has done, it's time to get revenge. The ultimate, almost powder keg of civil conflict happened after Charlie Kirk was killed. And beforehand, he was polarizing. So what they're doing now, I really believe this, is they're getting people polarized on Trump. They're getting everyone, like Tucker Carlson, following in lockstep to be like, Trump sucks now. Nothing that he promised came true. He was supposed to have no wars. And they're going to kill Trump when they know he's going to die within about a year. And they're going to have a leftist kill him. A trans leftist, maybe a black leftist.
They're definitely going to be trans, black
We're
leftist.
not sure. The ultimate boogeyman that's going to become the symbol of the left. The left or the liberal establishment might try to like turn them into like a folk hero, and they're going to be elevated, and there's going to be a whole thing. And then Vance is going to come into power, have the ultimate crackdown on anybody that's against the system. AI data centers are going to be deployed in their full capacity for surveillance, martial law.
Is Erica Kirk joining him at the helm?
Erica Kirk might be the first lady.
Okay.
It's just interesting. I see you, LOM. Let me just say this. I think that you saying this is not possible is just as silly as him saying that it is. Right? Like, do you know who our government is? The things that our government's done? I don't necessarily agree with this either. But can you honestly rule it out? I just thought it was interesting. I liked that he called him the clavicular of politics. What the fuck do we know about J.D. Vance? Came out of nowhere. Who groomed him? Peter Thiel. How did he start a business with no money? Peter Thiel. Who funded his Senate campaign? Peter Thiel. How did he go from never Trump to Trump's VP? Peter Thiel. How did he go from not on the VP shortlist? The next day, Trump goes to San Francisco, has a dinner with all these tech oligarchs, and like a week or two later, J.D. Vance is the VP pick. There goes TikTok. Andrew Callahan got me booted from TikTok. Fuck. What's weird about that, Chris? Let's talk about that. What's weird about any of that? Is that not true? Tell me one thing you know that J.D. Vance has accomplished on his own without Peter Thiel. Hey, one thing you know about him. Who do you think funded his book? Which, by the way, has largely turned out to be bullshit. Piss off some people today, I guess. I'm looking for, TikTok didn't like that at all. It's funny. It's funny when this happens, right? Like, sometimes we get accused of operating in the same way that, like, I'll criticize the right for being in a cult. And people will be like, well, the left operates like a cult as well. And I disagree with that because I don't think that there's like some unifying figure to unite the left. However, it is interesting when there's like a little pushback on our ideas or somebody puts an idea out that's kind of out there, like Callahan there. It is kind of TikTok raid. It is just kind of interesting sometimes to see the response to that. Like we shouldn't even discuss that. We shouldn't even entertain that thought. Like we know nothing about J.D. Vance. His entire life is a mystery funded by Peter Thiel. Why would we rule like Peter Thiel and his friends have a plan to and a stated plan to get rid of democracy? It's out there in the open. So we shouldn't question the guy that they fund and prop up. We shouldn't question people that J.D. Vance groomed straight out, or Peter Thiel groomed straight out of college. We shouldn't consider that maybe they are the tool that Peter Thiel is using for his end goal, which is to end democracy and turn our country into a tech oligarchy. I would say it's more likely than not that J.D. Vance is being directed by Peter Thiel to do exactly that. I don't know about the like getting rid of taking out Trump thing. I don't know if they can pull that off. I don't even know if they need to pull that off. That's probably where Andrew Callahan and I disagree. I don't really think they need to pull that off. I think that I've said repeatedly that I think the smartest exit plan for Donald Trump would be to get as much money as he can while he's president. And then with a little bit time left in his presidency, resign the presidency, take a full pardon from J.D. Vance, and then move to the Middle East to be to preside over the Board of Peace, take his whole family there. They're all going to get unconditional pardons. And there probably won't even be that much pushback because people will be like, all right, they're gone. And then we got to change the laws. I think Trump's going to get away with all of this. All these people running for office. I know Hassan said it last night. Like we're gonna investigate the Trumps. I think they're out of here. Why would they stay? There's no reason for them to stay. All of their businesses in the Middle East. They've been building out properties all over the Middle East. They're not building anything here in the United States. The only thing that they have that's here in the United States is their crypto scams. Stop giving them an idea. I just think I think that's the most likely scenario for Donald Trump as an exit plan. Because if he stays, I mean, I guess there's the other scenario that he can stay with an unconditional pardon, but then the states can still charge him. I just think he leaves. There's no way to get around the charges from all 50 states. Do I think they'll survive the Middle East? Hell yeah, they'll survive the Middle East. Hell yeah, they will. They're going to be kings over there. They've got money. You can survive in the Middle East with money. You know nothing of business. They build in Dubai because of tax incentives. Well, you get tax incentives in Florida. You get tax incentives in Texas. I live in Arizona. We give tax incentives all day long. For Utah, you get tax incentives. Boise, Idaho. Why do you think Boise, Idaho grew? Tax incentives. Why else do you think they build in Dubai? Because Dubai's giving them billions of dollars. That's why. Yeah, it's just such a good opportunity to invest in Dubai. That's why they're doing it. And that's why Dubai's giving them billions of dollars all the time. It's definitely not anything corrupt. Yeah, exactly. They build in fucking slave states ruled by kings. Are you talking about Peter Thiel? Yeah, he's in Argentina now. Why'd Peter Thiel go to Argentina? Hate how the world works. I want good to prevail. Yeah, it doesn't always happen. IMFRCD said, kids, don't do drugs. Don't you do drugs till you're older. Then make good decisions. Let me check messages real fast here, then we'll move on. Got a little heat this morning. That might be record time in losing TikTok. Obviously, Jen's not around to tell us why we lost TikTok, but what are we at? We're like in about 15 minutes. All right, Duke. Okay, moving on.
Abbott,
What's that?
I haven't gone anywhere. It was misinformation and multitasking. So, but I submitted appeal, and we'll see if it went
Shut
through.
up! Don't ever say that again. Get out of here now. Go away. You got to go. Let's talk about Missouri. Speaking of multitasking, we had midterms. Shit, is this the right one? Oh yeah, I forgot it was Rachel Maddow. I think this clip kind of sucks. Hold on. Let me find the other one because I think somebody like recorded this off their phone. Yeah. Shout out Missouri. The reason I'm very confident, more confident, I think, than most when it comes to Democrats' chances to win not only the House and the Senate, but also if they do a decent job, the presidency in 2028, is because we've watched what happened when Republican policies have been introduced and implemented in red states. They're deeply unpopular. And red states are revolting against the MAGA agenda, the Christian nationalist agenda. And we're starting to see, like in real time, how quickly you can lose a movement. And in Missouri last night, on top of having nominating for the Democrats and the Republicans yesterday in their primaries, we also had some amendments, some ballot initiatives that they're trying to get put on the ballot for this fall. And here was one.
And so Missouri Republicans in recent years have done all sorts of incredible gymnastics to make sure that the will of the voters is not actually made.
David, I think right now the front runner would probably be John Ossoff. I don't know who Dems are putting up, but I'd say right now the front runner is going to be Ossoff.
Manifest in Missouri law, despite the results that voters have really resoundingly handed them at the polls. So to that end, Missouri's Republican legislature organize this Amendment 4, which would make it harder for citizen initiatives to get on the ballot in Missouri. Instead of just needing to get a certain number of signatures statewide in order to get your initiative on the ballot, instead this would change it so that you had to get a certain number of signatures in each of the state's 8 congressional districts. This is a threshold that would not have been met by any of those initiatives I just described that Missouri Republicans didn't like the results for. So this was an effort to make it much, much harder for citizens to get what they want in Missouri. And Missouri voters gave them a one-finger salute on this one. Look at that result. Incredible. I mean, this is just under a third of the vote in, but look at that. This is projected to fail with an exclamation point or 10.
Yeah. Well done.
Like it. And so
who's
Missouri
running on that? Progressives. You can keep doing all the messaging you want about how much you hate the Democratic Socialists. You can say you can do the Red Scare shit all you want. I'm not sure it's working because people are starting to listen to the ideas, and a lot of people are recognizing, all the things that I actually want are being pushed by Democratic Socialists. Maybe they're not all bad. Maybe they're okay. I'm going to skip down to 8. Casey's doing it. But I want to go. I want to show you like what I don't think is working. This is a CNN panel last night. They were discussing the final speeches given by Al Sayed and what's her name? It's Haley Stevens. I want you to listen to establishment Democrats try and criticize El Sayed.
Congresswoman, as the only person on this panel that's actually given one of these speeches, your thoughts on clearly very different approaches.
Sorry, that volume's a little low.
I mean, I think Stevens was talking to Democratic voters who know where
Haley Stevens. Did I say that right? Haley Stevens, did I get it wrong?
Where they are on things like abortion, on things like voters' rights. I think the strongest part of El Sayed's speech was when he was talking to the purple voter, the voter who might be considering Mike Rogers. And he's saying, listen, Mike Rogers, the rent's too high. Mike Rogers, you can't afford to put food on the table for your kids. Mike Rogers, not a brighter future for America. So
while this is playing, I want you to pay attention to the people who are upset with me and who are against El Sayed. Notice that when you read their comments, notice that not one of them is going to criticize a single idea. They are just going to fearmonger you that they're actually communists and that it's going to ruin the country. They will not criticize or attack or levy any sort of argument against the ideas. Not everybody's in this country is a dipshit. Not everybody is MAGA dipshits who can't define communism but somehow are terrified of it. Who can't define socialism but somehow they wake up in sweats every night going, oh no, not the socialism. There will be no substance. Yeah, thank you. There will be no substance from any of them on what they're afraid of here other than the word socialist, Marxist, or communist.
I think that opening part of El Sayed's speech where he's talking to purple voters and really trying to say to people who might be considering Mike Rogers, come on in.
Thanks, Cameron. See how Cameron did that? It is communism. You're just too blind to see it. See? They're going to do it. They can't even help themselves. They're going to do exactly what we just said they're going to do. They cannot help themselves. They don't have any real arguments. They're just mad. They don't know why. Somebody told them to be mad and they woke up and they're like, I'm mad about this.
And in a way, what Stevens was just saying is, listen, if you're basically okay with core Democratic stuff, voting rights, for example, things some Republicans used to even support, abortion rights, come on in and vote for us. So I think they were talking to.
There it is. MAGA will crush communism. Still don't know. Afraid of my Cuba family lived it. Still don't know. Still nothing of substance. Just fear mongering. They're just scared, guys. Look at them. I live in a communist country and it's a shithole. There's no communist country. It's just 100% fear mongering. They have no fucking clue what to do with any of this. Just let them. You don't even have to engage with them. Just enjoy the show. Just enjoy watching the chat and watching them just fall apart over and over and over again. And ignoring them, that's going to piss them off. You can tease. I would recommend teasing them a little bit. But they have no clue. They have no clue what they're afraid of. And I think I have a little bit of like sympathy for people who are living that way. I think that you deserve better than that. I think you deserve a better life than just waking up being terrified of shit you don't understand.
Different people.
From a strategy perspective, Matt, which one made more sense?
Clearly, the first speaker, she was
Haley
Stevens was excellent.
She doesn't even know her name. How the fuck, CNN? What are you doing? What are you doing, CNN? Can't get somebody who knows their names? I didn't know their name, but nobody's putting me on CNN.
Well, one, she was short. I think that she was very focused. She created a nice contrast. You know, Mike Rogers equals Donald Trump equals my opponent. The second speaker, Dr. El Sayed, I mean, look.
Thank you, Stacey. Said donation to cover today and tomorrow. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you.
The guy loves to hear himself talk. Yeah. He's a dynamic speaker, but I don't know if the purple voter, and certainly no Republican voter, is going to talk about a movement. I mean, he is catering to the.
He loves to hear. That's the. He loves to hear himself talk. All right, bro, you're a fucking pundit. So am I. We like hearing ourselves talk. Public figures like hearing themselves speak. That was the criticism. He likes to hear himself speak.
Extreme and they're not watching of the Democratic Party.
You know, and look, it's a different vision. I mean, he is very much in that Bernie Sanders constellation kind of vision of politics, that you're going to inspire this movement to transform the country, transform the electorate. Implicit in that is that there's this vast pool of non-voters that you're going to inspire. I mean, that has really proved very difficult very hard to do.
Yeah, it has been hard to do, especially for Democrats, because they never run on good ideas. For the first time in most of our, I mean, you had the Obama years, but it's first time since Obama, you're getting people who aren't voting. You're getting first-time voters. This movement is a very young movement. Very young. I understand. I agree with what he's saying. It's hard to get people to show up when you're just spouting off the same old bullshit every time. But this is new, and that's why people are showing up. If you don't think that's true, then how come the Democratic Socialist candidates keep winning? Every single election season, there's been Democratic Socialist candidates. They've always fared very poorly in Democratic primaries. Now having DSA next to your name is a boost. Just having DSA right next to your name, suddenly there's a bunch of people who are into what you're saying. I don't actually love that, for the record, because I think it helped. There's chances where we can overlook some shit. I've talked about this before. We talked about it before the Graham Plattner thing, and we talk about it since. Like, some of these DSA candidates that we support are going to suck. Some of them are going to wind up taking corporate money, or they're going to stab us in the back with a vote, or they're going to wind up getting to Congress and just worrying about like creating contacts, and then they'll leave and they'll be lobbyists. Some of them are going to suck. We can't defend them blindly, but the movement, the ideas, that's created a movement. Hassan Piker went from being a very popular streamer to an incredibly effective campaigner. Somebody whose name next to yours carries weight and brings votes. That's a big change. That's a real movement.
And I thought that, like, she was just basically, we're going to win this election.
Yes.
Like,
there you go. Commies advocate for slavery and don't even know. Chat's just going to do it all day. I don't know what these words mean, but they scare me. Amy Lynn said they're afraid because they don't want to look stupid when they can't pronounce the candidate's name. Well, never stopped me.
transform the country. We're like, we're gonna get more votes than Mike Rogers in November, and we're gonna have one less votes for Republicans, and therefore we can restore the ACA subsidies. Yeah. It's just kind of like there's a grandiosity in the presentation of kind of the El Sayed and many of the Bernie style candidates, and look, that's what they think they can do.
Well, as you were speaking, we got even more new numbers, and it got even closer. So Haley.
Now, obviously, Abdul Sayed was eventually declared the winner. I don't know if Stevens has called him or has called. I don't know if she's conceded as of, I don't know, 9 o'clock this morning. I don't think she had, but that could have changed.
Stevens continues to make up that margin. And one thing you pointed out, Congresswoman, as we were watching that was interesting, was that during El Sayed's speech, we kept seeing presumably his digital director
100%.
standing
this is my favorite
in the
part.
camera shot, getting great hero shots of him from behind. Now, the old school way of doing this, you're more focused on the TV camera.
I don't understand. In the olden days, there wasn't somebody there in the shot filming. What happened to the good old days? This is most of my favorite segment. The only reason I left it in is because it's just a bunch of like old hacks upset that he has a social media director.
Cameras in front.
She did call El Sayed this morning. Okay, thanks, Illusion.
Because that's the.
She conceded and backed him. Good for her. I think we expected that. I look. Haley Stevens has some views I don't like. I think that this was a campaign that was well run by both of them, and I'm glad to see that she's not being a sore loser.
Audience, how they get information, so you would never do that. You'd be fired for doing something like that. For his campaign, it's a plus.
Yeah, well, and I mean, he was up there alone, which also put the focus squarely on him. And she did the kind of more traditional thing of surrounding herself with two currently elected, Debbie Stabenow, right, former senator.
I love that. Look, the leftists. This is my favorite one of the chat. The leftists are so stupid they traded AIPAC for Islam while Bolt's ultimate goal is to sell out the American people to foreign interests. Bitch, what the fuck do you think Trump is doing right now? How many billions of dollars is like? First of all, I don't think. I think you're wrong. The left hasn't sold out to Islam. Being anti-Zionist does not mean that you are pro-Islam. It means you're anti-Zionist. But like our president is taking in billions of dollars from Islamic-dominated countries, and he's selling us out. Like our economy is tanking, manufacturing is cratering. He charged us billions of dollars in tariffs, which now we have to pay back, and he's making an absolute fortune. And you have the audacity to show up and be like, look what the communists are doing. That don't exist. This group of people that doesn't exist.
With Hillary Schulten sitting congresswoman, she grabs Schulten's kids.
That's a good point. Are we God-hating atheists, or are we lovers of Islam? You got to make a decision. That's a good point. I consider myself an atheist. I don't care for really any religion. It's fine if you have a religion, but I don't care for any religion. Sorry about that freeze frame there, Katie Porter.
Like, look, I care about the future. It just was, I think, very, very different styles.
Content creation is key. I mean, the guys behind the camera moves a little bit. It's very edgy. They're going to be quick clips that are going to highlight certain key phrases. That's the new way.
Look, and there are benefits to it, right? I mean, he excites a lot of young people. Look at Ann Arbor. I mean, that county, how big. But, there are a lot of, in all of these states, these are older states. They're heavily non-college states. There are not a lot of people who are watching edgy videos. And ultimately, you may not have
edgy videos of El Sayed. They're so edgy.
To win non-college whites to win Michigan as a Democrat anymore, but you got to stay competitive. Right. And that's going to be a big challenge for him if he ultimately is the nominee.
Older people vote.
Well, and I will say, though,
real quickly.
That's a good point. Trump did say Biden was a communist and that he would take away your God. Guess he didn't do that. He just kept going to church every Sunday. A Catholic, by the way.
It is younger in the general, and it's bigger in the general. So I will say, I think, to your point, Sayed was talking to an electorate that I'm not sure is tuning in on Democratic primary night.
Yeah, but they might be watching his social media tomorrow.
That's right.
All right, more with you.
Oh, that's why there was another camera. I just appreciated the end of that. I wasted your time a little bit, and I apologize for that. Here's Bill de Blasio on with Sean Hannity yesterday. These poor Texans. These poor Texas conservatives, they have no fucking clue what to do with James Tallarico. No fucking clue. He's a Christian, and not like Christian in name, like he went to Bible school. He's very Christian. He makes that a prominent part of his identity. He's squeaky clean. He's also a white dude. He looks like he should be a Republican. And he's running against one of the most corrupt people in the state of Texas. And they're not really sure what to do with it anymore. And so here's what Sean Hannity is going with. This is now where they're at. This is Bill de Blasio basically saying like, I kind of like Tallarico. And then Sean Hannity doesn't know what to do with de Blasio saying he likes Tallarico.
He's a seminarian. He's a guy who talks about faith all the time, but also talks about economic populism. Paxton, for God's sakes, is a moral train wreck.
Okay,
so
then
the
help me
Democrats
out.
actually
I will
are finding
donate
the
money
kind of
to your
candidates
charity
that
of
you would have
choice.
been worried about a long time ago.
I want to give you money. I will donate money to the charity of your choice. He says there are 6 genders. I can name 2. Would you like to tell me the other 4?
I want to take the bet on who wins that.
Sean Hannity, do you think anybody knows about Google? He's talking about the 6 different phenotypes, right? Does anybody know if that's the argument for Tallarico? I assume that's it, right? So the genetic structure has, I think there's like 6 different phenotypes, right? Which is like XX, XY, whatever. I'm assuming that's where they're pulling this answer from. And they don't have names because we've never identified people by those phenotypes. We've never named them because all language is a social construct, right? We've never really needed a name for that. So we haven't named other genders. You can't even answer this question. The fact that they're not named doesn't mean that they don't exist, right? If you see a person and you don't know their name, do they exist? Does a person have to have a name to exist? If you're born on an island, parents never gave you a name. Nobody ever gave you a name. You just existed. Do you exist without a name? Of course you exist. This all exists. But that's what Sean Hannity came back with when he said, hey, Tallarico's a seminarian. He's a guy who talks about faith all the time. He also talks about economic populism. And Hannity's like, I got to talk about trans people. I must change the subject to trans people. I think that Republicans and Democrats both overestimated the effect on the conversation about trans people in the last presidential election. I don't, and you can, when you go through like the Democratic autopsy, that turns out to be true. Not very many people were voting based on that. It was in the news a lot, and people talked about it a lot. But the people that were morally opposed they were already Republicans, and the people defending it, those were already Democrats. There's almost nobody that was like, well, I was going to vote for Kamala Harris, but then she said trans people existed, and now I don't vote for her. That voter almost doesn't exist. There's very little evidence that voter exists. So that's what they have. That's what Republicans have. That's what they're running on. It's not going to work. Axe said, thanks for all your hard work, RTP mods. PSS Jen for a fact check. Jen, fact check on, is James Tallarico a seminarian?
I can name 2. Would you like to tell me the other 4?
I want to take the bet on who wins that Senate race.
Will you tell me the other 4?
I want to take the bet. You want to take a bet on who wins the Senate race?
I'll take that bet later. What are the other 4 genders? And if God is non-binary, as a Christian, and my faith is very important to me, all these years, the Lord's Prayer started with our Father.
Yeah, but Sean, that's not what people are voting on. They're voting on what's happening to their families, and they can't make ends meet. No.
Could you have a non-binary father? I said, sorry, I'm not a non-binary. Do we have any non-binary people here? Can you be a father and also be non-binary? Oh, you can? Oh, okay. Because it's just a word. Yeah. You can kind of use it how you want to. Whoever you consider your dad. Like my dad, the person I called father my entire life, had nothing to do with me coming into existence. I'm store-bought. He raised me. That's my father. Does he fit that definition? Not really. Has he ever had a kid naturally? No. My mom, she didn't have any of her children. All store-bought children. We still call her mom, mother.
When you listen to a guy like Tallarico, he is going at the billionaires. He's saying they're not paying their fair share of taxes.
After billionaires.
He is talking about common sense kitchen table issues, which his opponent isn't. This is the worst nightmare for Republicans, that Democrats actually get their act together and talk about the kitchen table.
I thought my name was Damn It. All I heard was come here, damn it. IMFRCD, from now on, you are hereby known as Damn It. Jen flipped me off. Said, is James Tallarico a seminarian? He is serving his fourth term in the Texas House of Representatives, having first been elected in 2018. While serving in the Texas House, Tallarico started to pursue a Master of Divinity at Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary. 2025, he announced his candidacy for the United States. Yeah, that's not a great fact check. Jen doesn't seem to be putting in her best effort on the fact checks. I think she's busy, though. She's probably got some household chores to do or something. I don't know. Hi, Jennifer. That's it. You're just going to show up and laugh and then leave. All right.
I was saying that was tell ACT. That was for ACT. The middle finger was for ACT.
Oh, okay. So. Fuck you, ACT. Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. Bernie Sanders has had enough of James Carville. This is the perfect answer. If you are under the age of 40, there's a good chance you had never heard of James Carville before this year. But suddenly Republicans are leaning heavily on, well, what about what James Carville says? And here's Abby Phillip to Bernie Sanders asking about, well, James Carville says that we don't want any democratic socialists.
So when someone like James Carville says he doesn't want to be in the same
Jen is fixing a zipper.
political party as Hassan Piker, which one are you going to take?
Well, that's not much of a choice. If Mr. Carville doesn't want to be in my party, the party that I belong to, that Piker, that El Sayed belongs to, he can start his own party. Look, what we are doing now is, you could turn the tables around and say, do you really want to be in a party where your leadership is taking huge amounts of money from AIPAC, which is supporting an extremist Netanyahu government that many of us believe have committed genocide? Do you want to be in a party with people who do that? Do you want to be in a party which has not stood up to the AI industry because they got a lot of money from AI or from crypto? So you could pick, you could pick whatever you want to pick. But I think we need a big tent, and I think people like Piker should be welcome into that, certainly.
What's the math that we firmly object to there, Empire? What is the math that we are objecting to currently? I would consider myself a progressive and not a lib, but let's just say that you're using that as all-encompassing of everybody that's not a Republican or everybody on the left. What's the math that we're missing there? Great answer by Bernie, by the way. Great answer. All right, here was El Sayed Syed this morning. I keep wanting to say Syed this morning, talking about his plans to now try and attempt to unite the party in Michigan. It sounds like Haley Stevens' game. It would go a long way if she went out there and campaigned with him.
So, as you know, this race is much closer than polling suggested. Have you at all heard from Congresswoman Stevens?
We haven't had a chance to talk. It's been about 6 hours since NBC called it last night.
2 + 2 is 8 is what I'm missing? Okay, got it.
We've got to bring the party together, and I know both she and I are committed to doing that. We've only got 13 weeks to beat a guy who has no business being in the U.S. Senate, and so I'm looking forward to that conversation. Grateful for the hard-fought race that we had, and the things that united us and the things that unify us are so much bigger than any of the things that divided us.
So let's talk about that unity. What do you think you need to do to sway Haley Stevens supporters over to your side?
Well, Vlad, I'll tell you this. We set out.
Who was it that said, have you apologized for your lies yesterday? Mom Donnie's spokeswoman said an ID would be needed to shop. Probably not. David, will you just give me the name of that spokeswoman? I went with the currently available information. If you can give me who that was that said that, I will happily look it up and 100% will correct it on the show. When I'm wrong, I admit it. So just if you can give me the name of the spokesperson, that would help me find it.
13 months ago, 15 months ago now, to build a movement, to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all. Mike Rogers is a guy who wants to put more money in politics. He is dead set on taking money out of your pockets by colluding with some of the worst folks and the worst corporations who've taken money out. And if he had his way, he would have Medicare for none. So I think the things that bring us together are so much bigger. And the focus that we need to have to take on Mike Rogers and the Trumpism that he's chosen to represent are the things that are going to bring us together. There's a lot of healing to do after a hard-fought primary like this. But I have said that this is a big, open movement. We welcome anybody and everybody who understands that we need a government of the people, by the people, and for the people to it. And I'm looking forward.
Again, like the DSA, they're going to be a minority of the people that are in Congress. And so what they have is they have a mandate. The mandate given by Democrats is that if you put these people in Congress, then we are expecting you to do certain things. We're expecting you guys to go in and fight for Medicare for all. And we're expecting you to fight to end money in politics. And we're expecting you to fight against continuing to fund Israel's genocide against the Palestinians. They won't have a majority, but they have a massive mandate. And that mandate is carried by, like, they can just say, like, candidate by candidate, here was the Democratic establishment candidate. Here's us beating them. Here's the Democratic establishment candidate. Here's us beating them. Here's all the money you guys wasted trying to prop them up instead of us. There's a mandate now. The people didn't give a fuck about your money. The people didn't give a fuck about your commercials. The people didn't give a fuck about the establishment. The people said, we're not doing the establishment anymore. They have that mandate. Amber said this morning, many media were saying, I remember when it was blue no matter who. So silly. Fight hard for your candidate in the primaries. If yours doesn't win, then back the other candidate in the general. We're not stupid enough to vote to the right. Yeah, always vote for the candidate that most closely aligns with the things you want to see happen. Not ideology, not religion, not race, gender, ethnicity, any of that. Vote for what policies will make your life better. Drop the ideological bullshit. Don't vote for somebody just because they say I'm a Democratic Socialist. If you have a Republican versus a Democratic Socialist, and the Democratic Socialist is not talking about things that will benefit you, and the Republican is, then vote for the Republican. It's a very simple thing. Vote blue no matter who is stupid, but you're right. And I know that's not what you're saying, Amber. You're just saying, like, hey, don't be a sore loser. Still show up and vote for the best candidate.
Welcoming our new friends to this coalition to beat Mike Rogers in the fall.
All right, Doctor, let's talk about Haley Stevens and the fact that she was obviously pro-Israel. You've been very clear about pulling back the spending for countries like the state of Israel. But what would you say to some of her supporters who
Thanks, Cameron. It's about time I got something right.
See Israel as a key ally of the United States and that they deserve our financial support? I know that you've gone on the record to say that you think that that money that we spend should be spent and invested here in the United States, but many people...
Illusion said Gen Z's done with the tired political bullshit. W. Al-Sayed. Amy said math equals look up most dependent states, not run by Dems, socialists, or liberals. We just pay for them.
People see that as
a welcome Raiders from Monty Duh. Good to have you guys here each and every day, Monty Duh. I owe you big time. I got to send you something one of these days.
False choice. The federal budget is nearly
Twitch, will you make sure if there's ever a chance when we can raid Monty Duh in return, will you make sure that we raid there? I don't know how to do that, but you do.
$7 trillion. Many voters would say that the United States can invest at home while also supporting allies whose security interests advance America's own. How do you address that?
Well, Vlad, I'll tell you this. I'm coming to you from Detroit. I can go 5 minutes in almost any direction. I can show you a school that looks like it did 50 years ago. And when you talk about improving that school, everybody asks, well, how are you going to pay for that? I just don't know why we don't ask the same question when it comes to unconditional foreign military aid for any country. That's Israel, sure, but that's also Egypt, where my family immigrated from. That's also Pakistan and Saudi Arabia and Qatar, all countries that we send unconditional foreign military aid. And I don't know about you or the viewers, but I don't pay my taxes thinking, man, I can't wait for another country to get a bomb or a tank.
But what kind of message does that send, Doctor?
If they improve that school.
What kind of message does that send to our allies and our adversaries that the United States would not be willing to support a key ally in global strategy?
Well, I think it would send that we're about principle.
I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me what Israel brings to the table for us. Or like, they're an ally because they're an ally. Not because they, what do they bring to the table? They drag us into pointless wars all the fucking time. It's like the only thing they ever do for us. The military industrial complex is like, we do like them.
If you're going to use the money that we send you to do apartheid and genocide, then you should think twice about getting our funding. And also think about the message that that sends to families who are in need in our own communities. It says that we see you. You have been contributing to our tax base for a very long time, and you haven't been getting the deal that you deserve. It says that we really are about trying to make your life more affordable, trying to make sure that you have the resources you need. And it says that we believe you have the right to your tax dollars. And so I think too often we're too worried about what something says to someone else. We're not as worried about what we say to people who are struggling for the ability to afford the basic things that they need for a dignified life. We are in an affordability crisis right now. It is high past time for us to prioritize spending on the things that make people whole, guaranteeing their health care, making sure that they have housing and good schools.
Hey, MT Richie, can I just help you here? This isn't a platform on hating Republicans. This is a democratic socialist we're playing right now. I think you might be too focused on like Donald Trump. We haven't even talked about Trump once today. We haven't talked about Republicans other than the people defending. Like this is El Sayed. Criticize what he's saying if you want to.
Schools, making sure they can breathe clean air and drink clean water, standing up to the corporations and special interests who have corrupted our politics for far too long.
Dr. El Sayed, Nichelle Turner here. You spoke just a minute ago about wanting to have a big coalition, but members of the Democratic establishment seemingly pulled together to try and defeat you. Chuck Schumer, Gretchen Whitmer, Jim Clyburn, all of those folks. What is your message to them today after seeing the race that you have run?
Look, we have an opportunity right now to remember what it is that we're up against. We're up against a historically corrupted president, a guy who made $2.2 billion.
Look at the title. Yeah, what does the title say? Yeah, what does the title say? The title of today's show say Democratic Socialists win, and what is it? Like Republicans? Jen sent it to me. What is it? Socialists win. I think I said third one. MAGA is out of excuses, and you're doing exactly that thing. The socialists won, and you guys don't have any excuses. You're just coming in here doing the same shit you do every day and be like, socialism is bad. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like a good title based on the way that you're reacting.
On his office in just the first year alone. We're up against a movement to squash democracy itself. And whatever we may differ on, it is so much smaller than what we agree on. So I'm looking forward to locking arms to defeat Mike Rogers and to beat Trumpism, to hold him accountable for the next several years, and to elect a president who believes in the value of democracy and wants to take on the responsibility of providing people health care and standing up for things like good schools and opportunity in our country. So I hope that today we can come together.
So, Doctor, do you think that it's time for Chuck Schumer to step aside? Do you think that Chuck Schumer has the pulse of the Democratic Party?
Well, look, I've said very clearly that I think Senator Chris Van Hollen would be an amazing Senate Majority Leader. But right now we have a job to do, and that's to beat Mike Rogers in the fall. That's what I'm focused on. I'm hoping that anybody and everybody who's committed to doing that comes together. I know Senator Schumer and I are united in that goal, and I'm looking forward to working together to get that done.
All right, Dr. Abdul El Sayed, thank you very much for spending some time with us this morning. We appreciate it.
What's my ideology that's killed millions of people? Listen, my friend, I'm not a socialist or a communist or a cat. Like, we'll get to that later in the show. There's a debate I want to show you guys for the last half of the show that was really good. But like, why can't you just criticize what's happening? Why can't you criticize ideas? Like, why is everything so generic with you? That has killed millions of people. Your ideology. Why don't you ask what my ideology is first before you come in here and sound like a dumb bitch? How about that? Like, every single person in here that's here every day knows that I'm not a socialist or a communist. I don't consider myself a democratic socialist. I think ideologies fucking suck because they cause people like you to exist, where you don't have to think for yourself. You just get scared of words and then you argue based on somebody's label. You don't have the economic sense to make an argument. Schumer has the corporate money. They won't support or donate money if policies are against their benefit. Agreed, Cameron. And that's the thing. Like, what these Democratic Socialist candidates are showing is that corporate money may have lost power, at least in the Democratic Party. All the corporate money is lining up against these people, and they keep winning. I agree with you. Schumer's going to try and use that money as leverage, but the Democratic Socialists can say, well, you used that as leverage before, and it didn't really work, did it? Plus, we want that money out of politics. all of you, I think everybody here wants money out of politics. That once the elections are done, you think Republicans are like, you think these same Republicans are going to show up and be like, we need to keep money in politics. Like 20% of you will. 20% of you bootlickers will, but almost every American's going to be like, we got to get money out of politics. They won't really care that it's Democratic Socialists. And a bunch of Republicans will jump on board with it as well because it'll be deeply popular. And they have to remake their image. And one of the quickest ways Republicans are going to be able to remake their image is to agree on single-payer healthcare and to agree to get money out of politics, because those ideas are deeply popular in this country and they will make people's lives easier and better. When the MAGA movement's said and done, whenever that finally sputters to a halt, you're going to have to remake your image. And your image is going to have to be a populist image in order to regain traction. And those populist ideas are going to be things like money out of politics, no foreign aid to Israel, and single-payer healthcare. Once single-payer healthcare is on board, we won't have this argument anymore. Not in any real sense. There'll be like this group of capitalists begging all the time to bring back our old system, but our new system will be so much better that everybody's like, yeah, we're not fucking doing that. We're not going to kick all Americans off insurance and restart private insurance. We're never going to do that. You just got to get it passed. Which is why I hope that Democrats don't do what they did with Obamacare, and instead of doing actual health insurance reform, they just go to the Obamacare hybrid system, which eventually gets bastardized and abused. So. Cool. Just being observant and intelligent. They have been planning this, and it was reported that the government lawyers are going to make a deal with. Wait, what are you saying here? I don't know where it went. Whoever that was, you can write that again. I wasn't sure what that meant, but it seemed interesting. All right. An exhausted Wajahat Ali. At like 2 a.m. last night, good for him, was able to come up with this. And I think this is how a lot of our Democratic Socialist friends feel, and a lot of people feel watching election after election after election of this group of people who have been Democratic Socialists, people who have been fighting for single-payer healthcare and money out of politics. They're very, very used to losing. They're very used to every single time having some sort of hope in a Democratic primary and then getting stuffed by the Democratic establishment and losing these primaries over and over again. So you see people like Wajahat Ali, like it's coming out as like fucking finally, we're making some sense out of this.
We were told our entire lives we can't have nice things. We were told for the past 10 years, you know what? There's some centrist mythical unicorn voter who drinks real coffee in the Rust Belt, who wears a real hat, is a real American. Joy and I aren't real because we're too woke and we don't have the melanin for the suburban electable, titles of being Rust Belt and real. You just saw Abdullah Said, a biracial man. He is biracial, half white, Muslim American, married to his high school sweetheart, doctor, Rhodes Scholar, who has been consistently progressive in his politics, wrote a book on Medicare for all, said abolish ICE before it was popular, said take money out of foreign governments, said I won't take corporate money, said take money out of governments, put it in the people. I was there. I've known him for about 8 years. When he ran for governor against Whitmer, he came in number 2. He lost. He's trying to figure out what to do with his life. He asked me for life advice. This is my goal. If you want to succeed in life, ask me for life advice, and then literally you fail up and you actually succeed in life. John Ossoff asked me 8 years ago for life advice when he was a filmmaker, when we were attending Skoll Awards Foundation. He goes, I like your career. I spent an hour with him. This guy's now a senator. Hassan Minhaj asked me for life advice when he was trying stand-up comedy in college, right? So ask me for life advice. Abdullah Said stayed true to his convictions, said, I'm a Michigander. I'm going to go 10 toes down, just like Mamdani, win or lose. I believe in this economic populist mission. I believe in this message. Inshallah, this message will resonate. They tried to attack him with Islamophobia, smear campaigns. AIPAC spent a record. AIPAC and its affiliates spent $60 million in a Democratic primary race. 10-1, they outspent him. 10-1. You had the Democratic establishment go all in, literally roll up Haley Stevens' sleeves. You had Neera Tanden be hall monitor against me for the past month. You had Fred Gutenberg lose his mind. You've had centrists and everyone else say that Joy and I are crazy. We're radical. We're leftists. We don't have the pulse of America. Abdullah Said overcame everything and just won the primary race. You're going to have a progressive candidate, a Michigander, who is not a white man, who does not have a white dog, who does not have a white wife, who does have white teeth, who is now going to go up against Mike Rogers. And I think, inshallah, he will beat him. And you might see a progressive, straight up Michigander, Muslim American be a senator from Michigan, the first, maybe, inshallah, Muslim Arab-American senator, and a progressive populist who wants all Michiganders to have a chance at affordability, and he's going to fight for accountability. Don't tell people you can't dream. Don't tell people you can't have nice things. Don't tell people you have to play prevent defense. And all you folks who said vote blue no matter who, I keep the receipts. Now it's time for vote blue no matter who, y'all. Tomorrow, I want you all to get on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on MS Now, on CNN, and I want...
It's a good question, Bob. Bob says, when Dems likely take over, what is everyone going to say when nothing changes? Bob, I hope you're still here. If the Democrats win the Senate and the House and nothing changes, watch how quickly I turn on them. I'm not going to speak for the chat. I don't know. I think a lot of the chat's going to turn on them. Watch. I'm going to be furious. Just like I was. I mean, some things changed from 2020 to 2024, but yeah, like I criticized Biden heavily. I criticize Democrats heavily. They had 2 years to get some shit done. They should have increased taxes, specific on the wealthy. They should have done something to address rising health insurance costs. They should have tried to. I always think they should try Medicare for all. I agree with you, Bob. I'm fully expecting for establishment Democrats to turn around and fuck us directly in the ass, which is why I fucking hate the Democrats. I'm fully expecting Democrats to run interference, which is why I'm loudly talking about the populist movement that is pushing these socialist candidates, democratic socialist candidates, communist, Marxist candidates over the top, because it's a populist message, and the population is speaking. And they're speaking specifically to Democrats right now. And if they happen to win their Senate seats, then that's even a bigger fuck you to the establishment. And yeah, Bob, I think that people like Chuck Schumer are going to do everything they can to make sure that these folks that are entering Congress for the first time have no real ability to do a goddamn thing. I fully expect that. And I fully expect there to be a battle. And if they fuck up, guess what? Me and most of the people here are going to say, fuck you, Chuck Schumer. Fuck you, Democrats. We'll be with you. We'll be on the same side.
You to say Abdul Al-Said. Abdul, we always knew you had it in you, Abdul. Come on and beat Rogers. Sorry for my little rant.
No, your rant was not little. Your rant was massive. Your rant was major, and it was so needed, because that is the reality, is that we always say it. I say it all the time. I repeat myself a lot because I'm getting older and I just have to repeat myself a lot. And I've been
all right. Amy says people finally see when the president takes our tax money and literally starts lining things with gold. Eat cake. Yeah. Aren't you guys so glad that we're wasting all this money trying to make everything look fucking tacky as hell in Washington? Let's make it all look like the tackiest fucking hotel possible. All right. I want to talk a little bit about a fight that is happening currently inside the Republican Party. Matt Walsh put out a tweet yesterday, and Matt Walsh, just as a reminder, is a bigoted asshole who is deathly afraid of trans people, LGBTQ people. I think he's deathly afraid of immigrants. He's just as like gross a Republican as you could get. But he had the audacity to tweet this yesterday. Said, one of the problems with this claim, and the claim is, last night from Joel Berry, my wife made homemade burritos for our family of 8, and it cost less than $20 for everybody. This is in response to this claim from Andrew Colvett, who runs TPUSA. One of our TPUSA college students gave me his take on affordability. A burrito shouldn't cost $20. Yeah, a lot of this is a hangover from COVID and Biden era inflation, which is stupid. And then Joel Berry's like, again, oh, it's actually that nobody knows how to grocery shop. Here's Matt Walsh bringing his take now. One of the problems with this claim is that virtually no Republican was making the affordability crisis his fake arguments during the Biden years, because you weren't. It is extremely transparent to everyone that the unwillingness to acknowledge these obvious economic challenges is at least partially politically motivated. I would call it political ass-kissing, dick riding. The reason that Republicans aren't willing to admit this is because Donald Trump won't admit it, and you're not allowed to disagree with Donald Trump. And he keeps going out on TV, which we'll show you in a little bit later, pretending that these things aren't happening. just lying to you and telling you this is the greatest economy in the history of the country when it is clearly not. When affordability clearly is a problem and your party is telling you, shut the fuck up, no, it's not, we'll tell you what a problem is, I think that's where you're getting the pushback. The second problem is that Matt Walsh says that no matter how thrifty your family might be, and no matter how cheap your homemade burritos, the significant rise in grocery prices over the last 6 years, and the fact that the rise is continuing, not stopping, and certainly not reversing, is just a mathematical reality. It can't be denied. It is a fact. Grocery prices have gone up 30% or more this decade. I'm happy for you if your family isn't significantly impacted by this problem, but it is real and it is a problem. And conservatives better come up with an answer that isn't just learn how to make cheap burritos, or we will get absolutely fucking crushed. I added a word. That's another reality. They are so mad about this. This Joel Berry that said, this is where you find like the Trumpers who just don't live in reality. The reason we talk so much about rising prices during Biden is that he gave us record inflation. COVID did. Let's be honest. But we're not going to be honest with the Republicans, so that's fine. Trump has all but killed that inflation. How do you say that when inflation has gone up? All but killed it? It got worse under when Trump took over, inflation was lower than it is now. How are Republicans saying this shit with a straight face? Biden hand-delivered lower inflation than we have right now. And they're saying Trump has killed that. Wages are up too. Huge win. Wages are not keeping up with inflation. So real wages are down. Right? Who the fuck are these people? What kind of people just go out there and lie like this? Prices always rise. The goal is to make them rise as slowly as possible and make wages increase unless you're rooting for a recession. Well, wages are not keeping up with inflation. The rise of prices is going up faster than wages. So if that's the goal, mission not accomplished. We shouldn't gaslight people who are actually struggling, but there are two deeper issues here. Here's the pull yourself up by the bootstraps Republicans. First, gratefulness and perspective were always cornerstones on the right, along with a can-do attitude. Struggling and overcoming in hard times is in our DNA. It's the left that traffics in self-victimization. We can encourage a can-do American spirit without being callous. Can-do, the new can-do spirit of America used to be like, go out there, homestead, start a business, build a home, go to college, do something. Now it's bend over and take it up the ass from corporations. You can do it. Hold on to your bootstraps while Peter Thiel fucks you in the ass. That's the new I can do it. I can take all of this. Second, we're dealing with record low financial literacy and record high consumerism. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know how they came up with that number. Record low financial literacy. The most financially illiterate people in the world are people who still think trickle down economics works. Like you have to be either like actually your brain can't do math, or you have to purposefully be dumb to still be advocating for trickle-down economics. There is no math by which trickle-down economics has worked or will work in the future. So I kind of agree with that, but the financial illiteracy is coming from the right. We should cut taxes. Let's spend more money and cut taxes. That'll fix it. Every fucking time you get into office, every time you guys get into power, you increase spending and lower taxes, and the deficit explodes every fucking time. And not sometimes, not most of the time, not 60% of the time, not 70%, not 80, not 90, 100% of the goddamn time you get into office, you increase spending, you lower taxes, and the deficit explodes. That is a reality. Republicans are people who refuse to take accountability and refuse to pay their bills. Democrats, not great on accountability, pay their bills a little bit better. Republicans' credit score is in the 300s. Democrats have like a high 500, low 600 credit score. Like they can get a credit card, they can get an auto loan, but the rates aren't going to be favorable. Republicans walk into a bank and they're like, you got to get out of here, man. You smell bad. This is the most financially illiterate dipshit fucking party in the history of this country. You are literally just taking it up the ass repeatedly for the billionaire class who pays all of your politicians, and then you pretend like it's somebody else that's causing this problem. Amy said oh, I got that one already. Thank you. Second, we're dealing with record. Okay, we got that. Anyone in their 20s who thinks you need to buy $20 burritos on DoorDash to survive has been failed by their parents. You're not getting a burrito on DoorDash for $20. You're going to have a $14, $15 burrito. Then you're going to have taxes. You're going to have a DoorDash fee. You're going to have a delivery fee. That one burrito is going to cost you $30, $35. And they weren't like, there's $20 burritos everywhere. I don't know where this person lives. They've been failed by their parents, by the education system, and a political class that feeds their ignorance and self-victimization. Helping people realize how much actual power they have to improve their circumstances is the best thing we can do for our fellow Americans. Notice how it's always telling people to just suck it up instead of making it easier. Why not make it easier? Why not make things more equitable? Why are Republicans terrified of making a better system? Taking the people who are stealing from us, taking the people who have bastardized the system and saying, you don't get to do this anymore. You don't get all the money anymore. We fucked up. You don't get the money. It's always like, just tell people that they need to try harder. Tell them not to be victims. You can do both. Why not both? I think it's good. I think it's good personal advice to tell somebody that you care about, that you have a good relationship with, like, hey, look, things are shitty. Like, you guys, this is the worst year of my life. This is the absolute worst fucking year of my life. I have never had a worse year, and we're in August, in my life ever. And I hope to God this continues to be the worst year of my life. At some point, the people around me that love me, every one of them at some point has been like, yeah, dude, this sucks, but it's going to suck. So what are you going to do? It's going to suck. Go to work every day. Show up every day. Be a dad every day. That's what I do. Is that good advice? Fuck yeah, that's great advice. Those are good friends. They love me. They care about me. They tell me like, hey, man, this sucks. We hear you. Got to keep going. Thanks. I need friends like that in my life. I hope I'm that friend for other people. When my friends are down, we talk about the same thing. Then we talk about how to make the country better. Why do Republicans insist on doing only one of those things? Don't complain. Okay. Don't be a victim. Okay, then what? Fix it? No, don't fix it. No fixies. Just no complainies. Why not fix it? Because if you fix it, then the rich people will leave. They're going to go to a different place. Well, what happens if they go to a different place? Everything goes bad. Why? They take it with them. Take what? Their company. Well, how's their company going to operate? How's Jeff Bezos going to take Amazon to Argentina? Oh, he can't. It has to operate here. What if he shuts Amazon down? Cool. Somebody else will build it here in America. It can be a co-op. It can be worker-owned. Do you see the propaganda that you're absolutely fed? Don't complain. It's never the billionaire's fault. Sure, it's not their fault. Sure, a lot of people, regardless of your political ideology, a lot of people, when placed in the same position as Jeff Bezos, would do exactly what Jeff Bezos did. That's the fucking problem. No, we shouldn't have a system that allows you to be put in that position. That's the problem. People are inherently selfish. The main thing that trickle-down economics has exposed is that people don't do the right thing. People choose money over people all the time, especially if you can create space and dehumanize those people, especially if you can have people look like a number. Every corporate boardroom in this country sits down every time their stock price tanks, and they look at people as a set of numbers. And they go, we need to lose 30% of our staff to get our numbers back up. And then they lay those 30% of the people off. And do they face those people? Almost never. It'll be a Zoom call or an email, or HR has to go in and hand that down. They're not even willing to go to these people one-on-one and have a discussion. They're not willing to let their company take a hit. They got to keep that stock price high. So they go and they lay off 30% of their workforce. And when the stock price recovers and they need to hire that workforce back, they'll bring them back. Not because it makes any sense financially for that company, but because it won't affect the stock price. So you get firing fixes the stock price. Hiring makes it look like you're expanding, and that helps the stock price. At the end of the day, we're all being jerked around by giant corporations who are just manipulating a stock price. That is not a smart way to run an economy. That is not a smart thing to base our entire economy on. I don't understand why we need the stock market. Somebody can explain it to me. Why the fuck do we need the stock market? You know how we could fix the stock market overnight? Take ownership of all of these companies, partial ownership of all of these countries. Tie Tie us together. Tie the American people to giant corporations. If you don't want to dismantle them, tie us to them. Profit sharing. The American people will invest. It will all become investors. You don't have to choose. We'll all become investors. That's a better way. I don't know why the stock market exists, honest to God. Why do we need the stock market? Communist Control Act of 1954 is the federal law that allowed the Communist Party, outlawed the Communist Party in the United States. There's no communists running. Shut the fuck up. There's no communists. They're not real. You're afraid of literally nothing. It's your shadow. Chill. None of that is real. It's crazy that you have to mislabel people in order to stay scared. Knock it off. I don't understand the stock market. I mean, the stock market's simple. You go and you buy stock. That's money essentially invested in that company. Now you own a share of that stock. Maybe you can get dividends, maybe not, depending on which stock you're invested in. And they use that money to do what? You mostly pay their CEOs. When we became a country where that said like, well, let's take CEO pay and let's tie CEO pay to the stock price. That was the day that we said fuck the workers. That was the day we said like, nah, we're not worried about the word. Like we're officially declaring we don't give a fuck about the workers. We only now care about the stock price. Look at our stock market now. What do Republicans say every day? Record highs. We have record highs in the stock market. One, we've covered it 1 trillion times, but that's a dumb fucking argument because literally every single president has had record highs in the stock market. Every single one that has presided over a stock market saw record highs because it always goes up because it's meant to go up. But two, if you take the top 6 companies out of the stock market and all 6 of those companies are heavily overvalued. We're talking 100x, like their value is like 100x what their revenue is. Sometimes 200x. If you take those 6 companies out, every last one of you that has money in the stock market would be down over the last 10 years. Every one of you. If you're just investing in mutual funds, we would be down. So when almost every company in this country would lose you money, and 6 companies are propping it up, that's bad. That's not healthy. It's time to get rid of trickle-down economics. And you guys, people just screaming communism, you're just holding on for dear life for no fucking reason. The communists aren't coming. You're probably not either. It might be why you're so mad. But you can come. The communists can't. So stop worrying about communists and just talk about ideas. Let's go back here. All right. Rick Scott's figured the whole fucking thing out, though. He's got great news, guys. Medicare fraud, Rick Scott has figured this all out.
When the Freedom Caucus sent a letter to Mike Johnson in the House months ago, they said that any Reconciliation 3.0 bill must include strict dollar-for-dollar and year-for-year spending cuts to restore fiscal sanity, and if you want to have it pass and allow the parliamentarian to give the blessing. So putting fraud aside, do you believe that you can actually meet that goal of dollar-for-dollar and year-for-year spending cuts?
No.
Oh, there is so much money to be saved up here. We're running $2 trillion deficits. There is now.
Who is? Who's in charge? Who passed the one big beautiful bill? Almost on party lines. Who has the $2 trillion deficit? There's so much we could cut. Well, cut it. You're gonna cut it? You're in charge. Who the fuck are you blaming? Cut it.
Is there the will to do it? We have to do it, but is there will to do it? Look, interest rates are going up. Inflation is not under control. The reason why is we're spending money that we don't have.
Yeah.
The government is the problem. It's not the Iran war. It's the government is the problem. $2 trillion a year deficits. We've got to balance this budget.
Government, it's not the problem. The Iran war is not the problem. The government is. I'm sorry. Who is giving that money? Who's giving that money to the military for the Iran war? Is that the government? I think they might still be the problem. Here's Scott Bassett. This is like we are just fucking talking in circles. Before I play this clip, I just need to remind everybody here especially MAGA, that you were told and you argued and you probably still argue that China or Canada or Mexico are the ones that pay tariffs. They don't. Donald Trump still says that. Now I want you to listen to this clip and tell me at what point does another country pay these tariffs? Now we're just admitting it, but not Donald Trump. He's still just lying about it.
Steve, to be clear,
go ahead.
One of the things that happened here, we've got the reindustrialization of the U.S., but here at the U.S. Treasury,
where is the reindustrialization of the United States happening? MAGA, tell me where. We're losing manufacturing jobs. How are they allowed to lie to you like this? Why do you allow that? Just a reminder, guys, we are a crowdfunder. We're way off on our gift goal. We got about an hour and 20 or 30 minutes left, depending on how long we go over. I do have a call at 1:30 that I've got to jump on. I got to see how much prep I need to do on that. But so if you could help us knock that out, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal are the way to go. No TikTok today. And if we started a dollar train, there's plenty of people here. We knock that out quick, fast, and in a hurry. Go back to this.
Got the reindustrialization of the U.S., but here at the U.S. Treasury, I had $168 billion of tariff revenues that we're going to have to refund.
Okay, so the Treasury collected tariff revenues. Great. Where did it come from? Who are we refunding it to? Because you would refund it to whoever paid it, right? That's what a refund is. I have to go to Costco later today. I have to get a refund on something that isn't working. They'll give me that money back because I bought it. And I have a receipt, and then the refund will be them giving me money back, right? So he's about to tell us now who paid the tariffs.
Democrats scream, oh, the refund should go back to the American people. Well, the American people had it. It was in the U.S. Treasury and was paying down the debt.
What? No, we don't have it. What Democrats are saying is you should give the money to the people who paid higher prices because of your dumb fucking tariffs. And you're like, well, we were going to do that and pay down the debt instead. Oh, but that's not giving it back to, then that's us paying. That means that we, the American consumers, were taxed. We got taxed for this. It was through the wherever we purchased the goods from, but that's our argument here. Notice how we're not talking about China. We're not talking about refunding China. Corporations are getting a bunch of money. So Donald Trump starts a tariff war that increases the cost of goods on virtually fucking everything. I was at the pool last night with my daughter and her friend's dad. He works for a company that makes mountain bikes, and he was explaining to me how the tariffs have really hurt them, and now they had to wind up purchasing, or I guess I think they merged with the company in Taiwan to assemble their mountain bikes totally there, because Taiwan can take all the parts that are made in China, assemble it in Taiwan, and then it can be imported as a Taiwanese product and avoid the tariffs on the Chinese components. And so instead of paying 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 or 80% taxes, depending on the day for Donald Trump, they're paying that flat 15%, which again is still stupid. I was like, did you have to raise your prices? He's like, yeah. All of our mountain bikes cost more now. We had to pass that directly on. It's a 15% increase in the cost of our mountain bikes. That's what we had to do. So now people go to buy mountain bikes, 15% more expensive. Why? I don't know. It was an American company. Did we bring back mountain bike manufacturing? Nope. Did we bring back steel manufacturing, aluminum manufacturing? Nope. Just charged Americans more for the fuck of it.
And the other thing, too, is that I said that these lawsuits that the Democrats are doing are corporate welfare, and it turned out they were. That they wanted to refund the money to the corporations. So now the corporations have it. Some of them...
Also, not us. He's blaming us. It's the fucking goddamn Supreme Court. The Republican majority Supreme Court ruled this, not the Democrats, not the libs, not the socialists, not the progressives, the motherfucking Supreme Court of America, which has a 6-3 majority for Republicans. That's who ordered this. He can't say that. I swear to God, how is it that you sit here and allow yourself to be lied to like this? Why are you still siding with this group of people? They lie to you every time they open their fucking mouth. Tell me a name. You give me a name of any Republican, and I will pull up a clip, 3 minutes of a clip, and I promise you, no matter the Republican, no matter what they're speaking about, I can almost guarantee I will find a lie. Everything they tell you is a lie.
Them are using it to reduce prices. Some of them are using for hiring, but a lot of them are taking it into profits. And to be clear too, when I get these House or Senate members screaming like, "Who pays the tariffs?" Well, we sent $3 billion of tariff money back to Japan.
Why? Explain that. Of course, Democrats lie. Of course, Democrats, they lie. I call Democrats out when they lie. I'm saying, and I mean, Sean, here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying your side lies, the other side doesn't. I'm not a Democrat. I'm saying everything that you believe is a lie. Everything. Everything you believe in terms of politics, if you are MAGA, is legitimately a lie. I'll challenge you to tell me one thing that you believe that isn't a lie. I'm not saying they lie, other people don't. Everybody lies. Every human lies. I'm saying the entire platform, the entire ideology of the MAGA movement is built on a lie. They make you scared and they lie to you and you gobble it up and you repeat it. That's what I'm saying. Says what cult am I in there, J-Sex? I'm literally not a member of the Democrat Party. Literally don't have any ideological beliefs in terms of like political beliefs, but I'm in a cult. You used to be better at this. Asta Sophia said, fun fact, Norway invests its oil for its citizens through the government pension fund Global, commonly called the Oil Fund. Instead of handing out direct cash checks, Norway invests the money globally in stocks, bonds, and real estate. Healthcare, pensions, and healthcare and pensions. As always, Norway, taking care of their people. Thanks, Lindsay and Denise, for joining the Dollar Train Act. Thank you. Said, come on, get on the train. Let's ride. Appreciate that. Amy said, maybe he should ask the governor of California and New York. Both delivered zero deficit budgets. Deficit budgets. No, we don't want to ask them. They're going to talk about increasing taxes. We can't do that. Okay. When do we have? An hour? Let me skip that. I'll do that tomorrow. All right. Todd Blanche wrote a cute little note that said that I promise we won't resurrect the slush fund, the weaponization slush fund. I don't think Donald Trump knows what it is. I don't think he understands what it was. He keeps saying I didn't know about it, and usually that means he definitely knew about it. But in this exchange with Caitlin Collins, I think it's very clear he actually didn't know what it was about.
Just to clarify on what you were asked earlier, is the $1.8 billion DOJ fund dead or is it on hold?
It's, I'd have to ask the lawyers, I don't know. I know one thing, the weaponization, are you talking about the weaponization fund?
Yeah, what's your decision?
The weaponization fund, as far as I'm concerned, was a beautiful thing. It was something I didn't make.
Thanks, Dolphin, for joining the Dollar Train. Said in regards to the debt, according to Claude, they haven't paid anything on the debt.
But I heard that. I thought that was the greatest thing because people like you have abused our people so badly. The fake news like CNN.
Wait. Do you think the slush fund was for people who were criticized by CNN?
Like the New York Times and like others.
J-Sex, don't pretend you've ever read a biology book in your life. Shut the fuck up.
Have abused our people. Wait a minute.
You know what's not included in biology? Gender.
Be quiet. Have abused our people so badly, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You used to be a conservative. She was a conservative from Alabama. Can you believe it? But CNN, in particular, CNN does such false reporting. But now they have new ownership, so maybe it'll straighten it out. I doubt it. But it's hard to straighten garbage out. But CNN has abused, and others have abused so badly. People.
Well, that's not what the fund was for. I know. What is he talking about?
These are people that are great people that were destroyed. Their families have been destroyed. Many suicides. They committed suicide.
Thanks, Renee.
People that went there with love. They went there with love. You know, when I made that speech early in the day.
It's just hard for me to accept that the people beating the shit out of cops chanting "Hang Mike Pence" were there with love. That's just hard for me. I do agree that there's probably some people that were just too dumb to realize they were breaking the law. And I guess, like, I'm not going to be too upset if the justice system goes easy on them. I don't really care that much about that. Like, they should know better, but they didn't. Fine. But to say this is love, he just thinks if everybody likes him, that's love. Like, they went and beat the shit out of cops, man. Yeah, but they love me. Yeah, we know. We know. And that's why they went and beat the shit out of cops, because they love you.
Tremendous crowd. I hate to say, because they'll say, oh, I was wrong on the number, but I believe it's the largest crowd I've ever spoken to by twice. The biggest crowd, I think, bigger than the inaugurations, bigger than anything. And there was so much love and friendship. It was the most amazing thing. People were crying. They were like...
Smart says, I heard there was a train wondering if I could start in the caboose. Yeah, you got it, bud.
Wait a minute. Let me finish. And those people have been abused by you and by others and by the politicians, by the Democrats. They're dumb people. They want to have open borders. They want to have transgender mutilization of your children.
Literally name one person who wants open borders and mutilating your children. Just name one. This is when I say everything you believe, everything you repeat is literally lies. Like, those are verifiable lies that even those of you who repeat those lies know that those are lies. Jeremy said, back in the 90s when I was a college student in San Francisco, burritos were the size of my forearm and cost $8. $8? That was high in the 90s.
They want to have men playing in women's sports. They want to have high taxes. They turned down, they fought us on the tax bill, and they fought.
Oh, are we still on the weaponization fund? Now what are we on? We were just talking about the weaponization fund. Now we're on the tax bill?
It's because they want people to pay high taxes.
Oh.
Because they're crazy. There's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with you. It's a shame. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. You can tell. Yeah. This is abusive. He's an abusive man. Yeah, of course he is. That's all he knows.
Excuse me.
He just knows how to be an asshole. It's literally the thing that he's best at. Ask his kids. Go look at the record of what his kids used to say about him before he ran for office. It wasn't great. They didn't think he was a good dad either. He may not understand anything. This is him talking about why he backed out. Like, he said he was going to attack Iran. Who put this together? This was from Axor Phanitis. They put this in here, but I thought this was pertinent. See if you can sit through a full answer by Donald John Trump. Here's 5 minutes of Donald Trump weaving, meandering. It does, honestly, showing him, if he wasn't the president of the United States, I wouldn't show him because it feels a little abusive on my side. I don't like showing the absolute mental breakdown that Donald Trump's been going through in the last few years. I don't like this. It doesn't feel good to me. But I think we have to show it because he's the president. And there's so many people out there that may not realize this man lost his mind a long fucking time ago. He just gave a 2.5-minute answer about the weaponization fund that at no point ever came close to addressing the weaponization fund. He didn't know what it was about. Then he talked about a rally and January 6th and crowd sizes and then hypothetical people on the left that don't exist. At no point was he anywhere close to addressing the weaponization fund. 2 minutes of that. That's a fucking problem. And it's not that he's like, it's not that he's being slimy and avoiding the answers. It's that he loses his train of thought within like 9 seconds. He's my president. Respect him. No. Respect is earned, right? I don't respect titles. I grew up in a cult. If you are a person who respects people based on the title, I'd be careful about that. You can be manipulated by people if you respect them just on the title. I don't have any respect for Donald Trump.
It's the fifth time you've turned off airstrikes against Iran since April to negotiate. What is your message to the American people who are wondering what has changed this time? Why should it be any different?
Well, you don't know. I don't know. I think we're going to maybe get something, but I want to give them every last chance before decapitation. Very tough to do what we have planned, still planned. We'll see what happens. But
that would be nuking them, right? Is he saying that he was going to nuke them? For what reason?
Israel doesn't like them. We better nuke them.
Neely said, MAGA is pathetic. You're willing to lie to yourself about what you watched happen on January 6th. Trump is rewriting history and you don't care. No, they prefer it. Just tell us what to think. Camilla said, love your read on all of this. Thank you. Dana said, getting on the train. I appreciate that. As well as I think Lindsay and Denise, I mentioned that already. Thank you guys for joining the dollar train. Much appreciated.
It's a very, very tough thing to do. I think I'm very proud of the fact that I'll give people a chance. This is a big move. To do an attack that big on a country, I'd rather not do it. Now, we've already, through lots of large attacks, but they were normal large. Hopefully they'll come to their senses, because what happened, cannot have a nuclear weapon, but hopefully they'll come to their senses. So they called me and they said, please don't attack, we'll make a deal.
Iran denies this.
That's the real truth, and everyone knows it. And who?
We don't know that, because obviously we couldn't answer the phone. So we don't know that. But Iran says no. And Iran, it's crazy that we trust Iran more than Donald Trump. I understand how crazy that sounds. I didn't think there would ever come a day when I'd be like, I trust the Iranian government more than our government, but here we are.
Wouldn't call. And they found out through leaks and sleazebags, a lot of sleazebags, leakers. Leakers should be put in jail. They have to strengthen up the laws for leakers. But in this case, leakers helped, because
those would be the Republicans. How come you guys haven't done that? By the way, they leaked this themselves. He's so full of shit. He leaked this. This administration leaks shit all the time. They do this so that they can they can focus on the leak instead of the fact that once again they backed down, and once again they were proven to be liars and unable to follow through on their threats.
They said the severity of the attack, and Iran knew it. They knew what was coming. It was going to come last night, and it would have gone on for a long time, and there'd be essentially very little left. There'd be nothing left. And
so we were going to nuke them? The only way we could destroy Iran overnight is by nuking them. That's what he's saying here. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes Iran thought they were going to be nuked. They called his bluff. He bluffed again. He backed down. Now he's pretending like, oh, actually, it was because I was so tough.
If I'm given...
How do I consider yourself a man? Because your dad calls me daddy when I fuck his face. That's why.
A chance to let a lot of people live, I want to give that chance. So I'm
and then he plays, hey, you should tell everybody. Yeah, you should tell everybody. Go ahead and tell everybody. He's the man, he's the man, he's the man. Oh, like that. That's why.
No time constraint. I don't happen to be running, but a lot of very good Republicans are running. And you have a sick ideology taking place right now that, hopefully they'll be defeated, because they'll destroy the country if they ever take over.
What's that ideology there, Chief?
This desk is like a blocking desk. No matter who gets in. If it's bad, I block. And I'm good at blocking. If it's bad...
More Men in Black trash? You call me the man. Here come the Men in Black. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Tell your dad I said what's up, and thanks for the $50.
If it's stupid things like the things they want to do, we want to get rid of the U.S. Senate. I don't like a lot of Senate, just to be honest with you.
Just more liberal trash. Oh boy, you're struggling. One more try, Chris. It was MIB, MIB trash. Now it's liberal. One more time. Any more time, pal? Or excuse me, any more time. That was stupid. One more time. Liberal with a B. Be like boy. Be like good boy, which is what I say to your dad. Good boy.
I don't want to get rid of the Senate. We want to get rid of the Supreme Court. They want to put now 21 or 23 people. That's the real on the Supreme Court, or get rid of it.
Not or get rid of it. They want to expand it.
They want to get rid of the
which is a good idea.
Presidency. They want to have an appointed executive running. That's a communist thing, you know. That's a communist thing. These are sick people.
Is it? Is that a communist thing? I missed that in communism. That whole like abolishing the government class and currency. I don't think that under communism you would have the executive branch being chosen by the legislative branch. I don't think the legislative branch or the executive branch would exist under communism, but I don't know. What do I know? I just read. Dana says, quick, Jen, fact check, kidding. Leave her alone. I'm happy for Jen. She deserves the size 10 joy. Size 10 shoe is massive. Just massive.
And, you know, I said it the other day, and it maybe doesn't sound that important, but when a country goes bad, like look at the blue cities.
Okay.
What do they have in common, aside from massive crime?
Well, first of all, they're not the most crime-ridden cities. You're more likely, statistically, to be a victim of a violent crime in red towns and cities and counties. And two, they have money. They have a lot more money. They also have better education, generally speaking, and they have bigger GDP, and they contribute far more to the tax income than other places. What else?
Much more crime. The Republicans have very little crime. But what do the blue cities have in mind? And also, you can say this with nations when they go bad. The blue cities have something in common: crime, high crime, vicious, violent crime. But what do they have in common? They're all dirty. They're filthy dirty. Their streets are dirty.
Remember, he was asked about Iran. He's supposed to tell us what happened with Iran.
Their streets smell. Their storefronts are broken. Their trees are all gross. Everything about the place is dirty. And I don't want to mention any specific city. It's really all of them.
Oh,
but you go into these cities that are blue, they're crime-ridden, and they're filthy dirty. They're like Washington, D.C. was a year and a half ago, with graffiti all over the place, with crime all over the place, with people afraid to be here. You had to be ashamed of your capital. Some of the most beautiful buildings built in the real time.
In the real time, guys. They were built in the real time. This is not a real time. This is the fake time. I miss the real time. Guys, this is our fucking president. He was asked about Iran. What the fuck is he talking about? How are you guys even pretending any of this is sane? You're having a hard time figuring out what he's saying, too. You don't even really know what to defend here. This is insanity.
Like you look at the Supreme Court building and they put graffiti on it. The most beautiful columns I've ever seen. In fact, our columns are going to be nicer at the ballroom. I said, I want the Supreme Court, but better. But you look at those columns, how magnificent, and then you see graffiti on the side of the building. No artistry, just bad people. But the one thing they all have in common, crime. There are two things, crime, but they're disgusting. They're filthy dirty. The streets are dirty. There are people lying all over the street doing you know what.
What? I don't know what. There's not a single city I've went to where there's people lying all over the streets. I have no idea what he's talking about. I'll you message JenDub1, JENNDUBB1 on Discord, and you can come up and you can talk to me.
They're all the same. And this is what we're going to put in it. Not going to happen in our country.
Okay, so why did you back out of the threats with Iran again? As the president, guys. You guys, some of you are still pretending that was sane? I'm trying to read the comments real fast. Is there any of you that are like, yeah, that made sense? All I hear is, wow, yeah, he was crying a little bit. He did say some words, though. Someone give him a butterscotch candy. Give him some warm milk and tell him to take a fucking nap. That was insane. Oh, Chris, you're still here. Good to see you, bud. Okay. I want to get to this. let's see. I got one more thing I wanted to cover. Actually, I want to talk about John Fetterman here. John Fetterman was on with Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart did what, for some reason, no media member can do to John Fetterman, and just ask him to explain his positions. And when John Fetterman is asked to defend his positions, you find out very quickly that this is not a very intelligent person. And he hasn't thought a great deal about this, which makes me believe that John Fetterman, who now suddenly is wearing suits, got some AIPAC checks, and he's decided that money is the most important thing to him.
So for you, you could agree with them 90%, but Israel is the red line.
He's talking about democratic socialists, or the progressive wing of the Democrat Party.
Absolutely. Israel for me. Like I can't ever turn my back to Israel after where it's at.
So, and I mean no disrespect on this, but that is not our country. You're saying that these candidates may have great ideas for our economy. They may want to do the exact same thing you want to do in terms of getting money out of politics. They may want to increase the social safety net. They may want to change the balance of power from capital back to labor. But if they don't agree with you on Israel, you don't want them in your party.
Well, I don't know who you're referencing to specifically.
No, I'm referencing what you just said.
Okay, this is how dumb he is. I don't know who you referenced. He just repeated back the words he said. Who are you referencing? You, brother. You just said that. You're the one that just said those words.
Name
so, in other words,
name them. You.
Ed or AOC or Bernie Sanders, I assume you agree with a lot of what they say economically.
And what I'm saying is, like, if you are a DSA member, if you are a member of a specific political party, run under your own banner. And now I think Bill Maher said something very insightful. He said, you know, the DSA are colonizing the Democratic Party. So just be Democrats if you're going to run under the Democratic Party for that.
I don't think either Bill Maher or John Fetterman understand the word colonization or colonizing. That's not colonizing. In no way could you use colonizing in that way.
Why have a DSA party for overall? So run on that, and you all understand.
It's just an organization. It's not, we have a two-party system. It's like the Freedom Caucus in the Republican Party. There's Randy Fine and Ogles and all these nutbags that are also part.
Yeah, what about MAGA? Wasn't MAGA? How many people said I'm not Republican, I'm MAGA? They now say I'm not Republican, I'm common sense.
An area, and Republicans, I'm sure, may not agree with all of them on all kinds of things, but there is no other party. Well, I guess you could try it, but my point is, if you don't disagree with them on a lot of things, why not use some of that energy? And even like Mamdani in New York is DSA, but there are things in the DSA platform that he disagrees with. And I'm assuming there's probably things in the Democratic platform that you might disagree with, but you don't disavow the entire thing. You're literally saying it's...
John's not being nice. He's an effective communicator. He's not here to I do think sometimes it's frustrating when you don't have a voice in the conversation. You want to just be like, fuck you, Fetterman, because that's how we feel. But Jon Stewart's it's not really his goal. He really wants to have the conversation. He really wants this explained. And it's a really effective way of communicating. And it goes to show Fetterman has no fucking clue what he believes. He's 100% talking points. In what he has said so far is the most important thing to him and for the constituents he represents is that Israel continues to have our full and unconditional support. There is no chance that is the dominant position of his constituents. There's no chance. There's almost outside of just Zionists, there's not really a group that overwhelmingly is like, Israel's my number one issue. Just Fetterman, which John correctly pointed out, that's not our country. How is that your number one position? How is that your line in the sand? Giving Israel money is the most important thing for you?
We can all have discussions, except when it comes to Israel, which is not America. It seems like a weird line to draw.
Well, so then, I don't think that's weird. I think what history does.
It is. Lisa said, sending positive thoughts for tomorrow. Thank you. Just a reminder, guys, I am off tomorrow. I have court tomorrow. Wish me luck, but we won't be here tomorrow. And if you want to help us knock out the remaining balance of that gift goal, be dope. Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chats are the way to go.
Demonstrates is that when people or a government or people turn their back to the Jewish community, things end really badly, and it's a dangerous.
Jewish community and Israel are not the same thing, brother man. They're not. That is not the same thing.
No.
Just a reminder, Jon Stewart is Jewish, and it would be part of the Jewish community, and is vehemently against Zionism.
Oh no! It's like,
you hope I get jail time for what, bud?
Hey, it's like if I have to pick a side for after 10/7 and after Iran. I'm always going to stand with Israel. I'm always going to vote and support whatever that's necessary to protect themselves and to prosecute Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran too. And the very left never
prosecute. We're not prosecuting them. What is he talking about? You guys want to help him? What's he talking about? Prosecute Hamas, Hezbollah? I have no idea what he's talking about. Oh, court date. Oh, well. The charges are not against me. So, for the record,
said a peep after Iran executed 30 to 40,000 young people in there just for protesting for democracy.
You think that the left is pro Iran, not the country, but the regime?
What I'm saying though is
nobody thinks that. It's just a dumb fucking thing that they say. Watch John Fetterman. Finally, somebody asked the question, you think the left is pro-Iranian regime? Of course not. There's nobody. You can't give me a name that's like, I'm pro-Iran. We just don't want to be in the war. Watch how bad he fumbles now. What do you mean the left is pro-Iran?
If anyone in the Democratic Party is fine with Iran building a nuclear bomb, I disagree with that person.
Okay, name that person. Name who's that person that says Iran should definitely have a nuclear weapon.
I think most people are. Again, I think you're caricaturing the issue. But I want to. Is there anything you would criticize Israel about?
I agree with that. I'm not anti-Iran either. Yeah, I'm with you on that. The left is pro-Islam. Correct. We're also pro-Christianity. We're pro-atheism. We're pro-Protestant. We're pro-Mormon. You can have whatever fucking religion you want. Yeah. We are pro, you get to practice your religion however you want, but you don't get to bring it into the government. You don't get to use that religion to write laws, regardless. I don't like Christian nationalists. I don't like people who would be considered fundamentalists, Muslims. Pro-Judaism, pro-Buddhism, pro it all. Exactly, Grekies. Exactly. All right. Then this. Oh, we'll see. Where we go. One more clip from that interview, which was really good. And this followed directly to that conversation. That like Fetterman is creating this caricature, and we're seeing this with the chat too. Like this is what Republicans' entire argument is now. They create a caricature of somebody who literally does not exist. They can't name a single person who holds the views that they claim that the entire left has. None of them. They just have to create a scary caricature in order to create the propaganda, to crystallize that in your mind so that you think, oh, the left is this. And then when we ask for just one specific example of anybody who holds these views, you can give us none, but you're willing to blanket everybody with the views that none of us hold. It's a broad spectrum over on the left. I'm pretty fucking progressive. I'm not a socialist or a communist. I'm certainly not a centrist. I wouldn't consider myself a liberal. I think most people would just consider me progressive. But there's a wide variety of ideas, and there's nobody that I know of in that wide variety of ideas who is like, I am pro-Iran. Like I'm all about Iran. I don't know anybody that is in elected office that's like, I'm a communist. I don't know anybody in elected office that says we want open borders. None of these people exist, but they build up this caricature.
Go at this a different way. You're pro-gay rights.
There it is. If you're progressive, you're a communist. Yeah, see? And you just do it. Like you're like, he said that this is dumb and that none of these examples exist. I'm going to repeat it. That's true. If you're a progressive, you are a communist. I hope that was a joke. I'm sorry if I'm making fun of you and it wasn't.
Yes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming up on the 13th. Great. I'm on the pro 13th anniversary. I was the first person to solemnize a gay marriage, when it was illegal in Pennsylvania. No. Yeah.
Beautiful. And you're someone who is pro trans rights or
I absolutely. I was the only Democrat that's saying, when they actively were trying to ban trans Americans from our military.
Great.
So
what the right would say about that
WW. That's why we liked you.
Is that you're pro mutilation of children. That's what they would say. That would be that would be their caricature of your position.
It's brilliant. God damn, he's good at this. Fucking brilliant. Reverse it. Show him the way he is utilizing his logic. Oh, you support the rights of trans people? Then you support the mutilation of children. And he, on his face, he realizes how ridiculous that is, but can't quite make that leap.
Do you agree that that's what they would say?
What I would say is, what I'm saying is right now, our party is starting to elect people that are going to struggle to win.
Ooh, Fetterman, look, brother. Nobody thought you were brilliant. Nobody thought you were a good politician. Thought you were authentic. And here you are now. Now that you're being pushed, you have suddenly gone full politician. You put on the suit and now you're dodging questions. He asked you if that was what people say about you because you are you stand with trans people and believe they should have rights. You won't answer that question? Is that a caricature that you're smeared with? Oh, I'm not going to do that. Because he knows. He knows he just got caught right there. They all know that this Red Scare is bullshit. They just want those checks to keep coming.
In the kinds of places that are going to define who's going to win in 28. That's a fact. And now a lot of these ideas and a lot of these extreme views are coming from the kind of people that have never won a real competitive election in state that holds both sides, and hold people accountable to explain a way forward when we live in a very divided country right now. I think the responsibility.
Your approval rate's like banana, dude. Everybody fucking hates you. Let's not talk about electability.
Is to police your own ranks, and it's like there's plenty of people, as I've been criticizing some of the Republican views, but overall describing what garbage is garbage, like P. Hustle in Maine. Like I was, like he was an absolute garbage.
Oh, Plattner.
Yeah. I mean, so that's not a caricature.
And you were saying that before the allegations of rape.
I love it. I'll definitely, the left will eat your own. You're fucking right, we will. You're absolutely fucking right, we will. It's called principles. We'll bury any of these motherfuckers, any of them, who back away from their principles, the principles that they were elected to hold. And when they show their ass and show that they're more accountable to a foreign lobby than they are to their voters, then yeah, abso-fucking-lutely we will. It's called having a spine. Not us. We line up and we suck that dick no matter what. Vote red always. Always Trump. If Trump says vote for someone, you vote for them. If Trump says don't vote for them, you don't vote for them. But we don't eat our own. Cool.
I'm saying it's like a Nazi tattoo on your chest means like, yeah, you probably have Nazi inclinations. And if you...
But he didn't. That was the tricky part. He didn't. Turns out he was a sex pest. Kind of a piece of shit. But it's interesting that they bring up the Nazi thing as if they ever uncovered anything Nazi about him. Nah, he's a bad guy. But not because of that.
Are accused of roughing up your ex-girlfriends. Yeah, that's a non-starter for me. And if you think an American hero, that's being shot by the Taliban is a dumb motherfucker that deserves to die, I think that disqualifying is too. I think Maine has a better person to...
Who's he talking about? I don't know that reference. What's that reference?
To represent, my party.
So there's just a couple things there. And I appreciate you having the conversation.
I too. You've been very fair here. Absolutely.
If your concern is winning elections, I don't know.
No tattoo artist is accidentally giving people Nazi unit tattoos. Nobody said that that a tattoo artist accidentally gave him a tattoo. He just didn't know. What he says is he didn't know that's what the tattoo was. The military approved it. So either the military is cool with Nazis or they didn't know either. It's one of those two things. All I'm saying is that they've never uncovered anything that leads me to believe that he had Nazi ideals. There's the tattoo. There's an explanation for that. He says he wasn't a Nazi. I can't prove that he was because I don't see anything other than that tattoo. That's all I'm saying. Piece of shit guy. Glad he's gone.
If you coming out and calling people pro-Hamas, which I think is a caricature of many of their positions, is that helpful to them? And second of all, you've been very, you called President Trump a jagoff in 2016.
Yeah, absolutely. I put it on a shirt. I sold him.
You put it on a shirt. And now you've been very complimentary to him. And if your concern with Graham Plattner is you didn't think he was very nice to women, you're ignoring it.
I agree with you, Em. Like, so most tattooed artists I know do not do hate tattoos. They are sketchy artists. But I think that if I took that tattoo out on the street today and I said, what does this tattoo symbolize? I don't think I would find a single person that would tell me that's a Nazi tattoo. I don't think anybody knew that. Maybe he did. Maybe he just was able to hide his Nazi beliefs. Maybe. But I saw it and I was like, I didn't know that was a Nazi adjacent tattoo.
Awful lot of evidence for the current president about his relationship with women. So my point is, there seems like there's a way to go about this that embraces, as you said, the 90% of things that you agree with and try and utilize that energy to reform a party that has a worse public image than herpes in terms of getting things done. This feels like it's playing into the hands.
Shout out herpes. Got mentioned. Herpes. Somewhere herpes is like, yay.
Of Republican caricatures.
Why can't people on the Democratic Party finally figure out why Trump...
Democratic Pied? You just say right there.
Why can't people on the Democratic Party finally figure out why Trump was so competitive and winning 2 out of the 3 last cycles? Why?
It wasn't because he supported Israel.
Why is he still here? Why are we still doing it? Because we keep losing and now we keep returning back to some of the extreme thing. That's not a caricature. That is a fair assessment of where we are with these kind of things.
That's a terrible assessment. It's the exact opposite. It's that Harris refused to take any real positions. It was business as usual. It's like she was going to continue the Biden administration, which was pretty unpopular. Like, that's a terrible analysis. As a Democrat, that's a terrible analysis. You don't have any data that says that. We were too radical with Kamala Harris. Oh, okay. Sorry, we went so radical with Kamala Harris.
But we didn't. Kamala Harris was not a progressive left candidate. She was not a Tim Walz. Like I guess everybody said Donald Trump couldn't win.
All right. Here's what I was waiting for. I like any opportunity we have to shit on Patrick Bet-David.
So, Steve,
Patrick
as an
is a smart man for dumb men. And I say men because he's exclusively for men. He has done a good job making a lot of money, and that'll be the criticism of me that I'm calling him stupid, but he's rich, so he must not be stupid. He's a good salesperson, and he ran an MLM, which should be illegal, shouldn't be allowed whatsoever. It's a scummy business, and that's how he got all his money. Then he bought this. He built up this platform by paying celebrities to come and speak in front of his groups that he charged a lot of money for, and then it lent credibility to him because people thought, oh shit, who's this guy that has Kobe Bryant and Tom Brady on stage with him? And then he ventured into politics. What he hasn't done is studied economics at all. There it is. Yeah, you're just jealous. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, for sure. But he's dumb. So I could be jealous of what his success or whatever. Even if that was true, he's dumb. I would not feel, honestly, I wouldn't feel good if I had made my money off of the backs of a bunch of people who were scammed. I wouldn't feel good about that. I've left industries previously, jobs that I had, both in the real estate sector and as a professional gambler. I left those industries because I didn't feel good about myself. So you can say what you want, but not everybody's driven by money. A lot of people aren't. I would imagine that most of the people that watch this show aren't driven by money. You can see, like, we don't ask for a lot. And this isn't a show full of rich people. So, no, not jealous, but he is dumb. And he made, I don't know if it's a mistake, but he brought on Steve Keen. Steve Keen is a legitimate economist. And the thing I like about Steve Keen is that Steve Keen does not subscribe to an ideology. I don't like any, I don't see a big difference between somebody being a socialist and a Mormon in terms of ideological capture. I think once you start with the ideology, then your research is, how do I prove that my ideology is correct? So my big gripe generally when I speak to socialists or capitalists or communists is when there's pushback, almost everybody has the same answer. You get to a certain point and they're like, well, what's a better system? I don't think there's like a better ideology. I think that in this world, every single country has a mixed economy. Every country has some sort of mix of capitalism, socialism, Marxism, communism. Like these ideas are not individualized. They can cross. Like a lot of people say that the United States is capitalist. It's obviously not true. We have a mixed economy. Same with China. Same with Russia. Same with Mexico. Same with Canada. And there are, like, the ideological fight is silly, because there aren't any pure ideological countries in existence. So we're fighting over stuff that nobody's ever been able to prove. And it's, again, they're all theories. But Patrick Bet David brought on Steve Keen, who is just one of those people who analyzes economies, not with an ideological bend, and things don't go well for Patrick Bet David.
Economist, where you were famous for making quite a few different predictions, one of them being in 2008, and your work's been documented all over the place. How do you think we, the average people who read and study economists, how should we judge economists?
As frauds, in so many words.
Thanks, Stephanie and Angela. Appreciate it.
They're conscious of...
I don't want to stop this too much. We have 30 minutes to go, maybe 40 minutes. I don't know how long this will last. We have, I'll update the gift goal though, if you want to help us knock that out, that would be greatly appreciated. I'll try not to interrupt too much, and I'll pick times. I think this is a really interesting conversation. If you are not into economists, if you're not into discussing socialism versus capitalism, this might be a time for you to bounce, go to a different stream. If you like this stuff, this is for you. This is me nerding out. This is me knowing tomorrow's going to suck a bag of dicks, and I'm choosing something for myself for the last part of the show. But if you want to help us knock out that gift goal, that would be greatly appreciated. Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal, as well as Super Chats, are the way to go.
They're frauds.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, all the economic theories, with the exception of the school of thought that I'm part of, which is called, just for historical reasons, called post-Keynesian.
Yep.
They tend to be people who got sick and tired of left-wing versus right-wing views from other economists, and so we simply want to understand how the economy works. And so there's less ideology in the post-Keynesian school, but you get Marxists at one end who think capitalism is going to give way to socialism. You get neoclassicals and Austrians at the other end who think that capitalism is the best possible social system, and those ideological biases drive their analysis more than logic and more than data do.
Got it.
It might seem hypocritical because I regularly say, like, sitting on the fence is for pussies. When it comes to ideologies or economic theories that are unproven, I think being a fence sitter is actually the right move. I think choosing an ideology and working backwards is the wrong move here. So I realize that in some ways I may come off as a hypocrite when I say that.
And so how do you view, I've seen the work and the things you've said about Karl Marx versus Milton Friedman. Who's Karl Marx to you and who's Milton Friedman to you?
Eric, let me just clear that up. I made a lot more money before I did this. I've never been driven by money. I always earn money. I have a family that I have to feed, and I like this job. There's nothing wrong with being paid. I'm saying that, like, I wouldn't do unethical things for money. That's what I mean by not driven by money. I don't think anything I do is unethical. You might disagree, but I don't think it's unethical.
Pardon me, you better explain that question.
Yeah, who is Karl Marx to you and who is Milton Friedman?
Well, Karl Marx, both of them are caught up with some sense of ideology. I regard Marx as a far superior intellect to Friedman, but just like other ideological branches of economics, Marx had a set of conclusions he wished to reach, and when his logic didn't reach those conclusions, he twisted his own
It's called grifting. Fair enough. I'm a grifter.
Milton Friedman does
Damien.
the same thing. I don't know how anybody takes him seriously. When you take a look at his detailed work, the stuff he puts across at the sort of political level, the sort of standing on a podium giving a speech level, can be persuasive. But if you look at the arguments behind his logic, they're just mythical. Completely.
Milton Friedman and Thomas Sowell are two of the most heavily cited people on the right. I don't know if anybody's life's work has ever been more debunked than either two of these, and yet they are still heroes and the most commonly cited people by the right. They are not good at what they do. They do not provide coherent arguments that stand up over the test of time. I wholeheartedly agree with him. I'm not a Marxist, but Karl Marx is significantly smarter than Milton Friedman. Sherry said, "Thanks for what you do." I appreciate that, Sherry.
Mythical. There's a wonderful put down of people like Friedman by Joseph Schumpeter, who is the great non-orthodox Austrian economist and historian of economic thought. And he talked about what he called the Ricardian vice. And he said that's when you set up a set of assumptions that leave the conclusion you wish to reach as the only possible conclusion. You're conning people that way. And that's what Friedman does. It's what Ricardo did as well. So there's a large amount of rhetoric in economics, which people outside the discipline will mistake that as logic, but it's actually trying to reach a rhetorical position, and it's a question of how clever you are with words, rather than what you say actually makes any logical sense.
So you think Milton Friedman was a con man? Do you think Karl Marx was a con man?
No, it's beyond saying a con man. People convince themselves of a particular set of conclusions about capitalism. It's a question of how well they reason within their own frameworks. I regard
nothing's ever been more true. Believing in capitalism is like believing in the Easter Bunny. Y'all know it's not working. Every bit of evidence out there says no, not real, and you're just like, we're gonna just keep believing though. Like it's completely fucked our country. We have $40 trillion in debt, and we have wealth inequality at all-time highs. And then we're just gonna, we should do more capitalism though. That'll fix it. What if we deregulated some more? That'll probably pay off our debt for sure. Natalie said, "Thanks for all you do." Thank you. And William said, "Antifa, Socialist Communism Fund."
Marx is not only a far superior thinker to most people in economics, but a great logician. But when he pushed his logic, when he started...
Mabel, China isn't capitalism. Everything is owned by the government. That's not true. Just a quick Google search will let you know that not everything in China is owned by the government. Be a little bit better. You're who we're talking about. When I said Patrick Bet David is a smart guy for dumb guys, he's probably your guy.
Including his philosophical
he's
thinking.
a numbers guy.
In how he analyzed the economy, he ended up contradicting what's called labor theory of value. Now, the labor theory of value says that basically all profit comes from labor. And if you have an industry with a high amount of labor and a small amount of capital, will make more profit than one with a lot of capital and a small amount of labor. And this is empirically wrong, and it argues that all output comes from workers. But it also gave Marx an argument that there'd be a tendency, what he called the falling rate of profit, and that would lead to socialism. Now, when he used he developed his own philosophy to apply his philosophy to economics, he ended up saying that labor is not the only source of value. Machines can produce value as well. And that meant there's no tendency for the rate of profit to fall.
If we can simplify that a little bit, essentially what he's saying is that there's this theory that if you have low capital but high labor, you will be more valuable, or you can produce more, versus if you have high labor and no capital. And essentially all he's saying here is that there are times when capitalism produces more because of the incentive of the people in that economy. And this is where you get supply and demand, which is not capitalism. Supply and demand is just like an economic truth, is that if you have a high supply and a low demand, then prices come down. If it's reversed, if you have a low supply and high demand, prices go up. And that if you have the ability to access labor, whether that be human labor or machine labor, and you can meet that demand, then you can be more profitable or productive. When they talk about production, they're talking about output.
Now, that meant he proved there wouldn't be socialism, and his response was to bury his own logic because he wanted to reach the conclusion that socialism was inevitable. So there's an extent to which people twist their economics because there's a set of conclusions they wish to reach, and if their own logic doesn't reach to those,
and that's correct too. Like under free market principles, that's correct. That's true. And that's the problem I probably have with socialists, is that in order to make socialism work, the restructuring that we would have to do of our country and our entire economy is, I would say, impossible with the size and scale that we have, and we don't have the patience to get through that, to actually, and no country does. It seems no country's willing to totally commit to either capitalism or socialism. Nobody seems to have the stomach for that.
Conclusions, and they disrupt their own logic. And you can find that you can find that in Friedman, you can find it in Paul Samuelson, you also find it in Marx.
So is it fair to say Marx's theories, Marxism, communism, miserably failed? His theories,
no,
his ideas?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay, tell us why you think it's succeeded.
It didn't succeed because people outside economics, I'm not saying that socialism succeeds. I'm saying that a form of thinking about capitalism can be successful or unsuccessful. And the way we think about capitalism, which comes from neoclassical theory, is completely unsuccessful. If you take a look at the theory as carefully as I've done over it's 1.5 centuries of existence, they've contradicted their own logic, they contradict empirical data, and they keep on going with that same belief system regardless. So the logic inside neoclassical economics is extremely poor. Now, Marx worked out a brilliant form of logic, but he didn't like the conclusion. So his logic is great. His deductions for it contradict his own logic. So in terms of having somebody with an intellectual...
Is this confusing for any of you Republicans who thought this was going to be like a pro-socialist or pro-capitalist argument? The reason I wanted to show this is because they're flawed. All of these ideologies are flawed, and we are incredibly divided as a country on whether or not we should be capitalist or socialist, and we will be neither. There is no scenario where we become a capitalist or a socialist country. It's not happening. But if you go across the political spectrum, if you go across the political theater, and you hear people talking, you will hear socialism versus capitalism. It's not socialism versus capitalism. It just isn't. That is a silly argument that we use, I guess, to keep people talking, to get clicks, to get people distracted, whatever it might be. But that's not a real fight. There is no fight against capitalism or communism or socialism. It's just team sports, and people are using those words interchangeably to say Republican or Democrat, where they feel like they don't sound as stupid just saying Republican and Democrat. All these you could get the entire Congress full of Democratic socialists, and guess what? We wouldn't be a socialist country. It still wouldn't happen. You could elect 100% Democratic socialists, and we still would not be a socialist country. We can't. You could do 100% capitalists. Still not going to happen. Like we still have to use taxpayer money to fund things like education, healthcare for those who can't afford it, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. It's just never going to happen. It's a silly argument that we shouldn't even be having. And Patrick Bet David, my favorite part about this entire thing is this is like 27 minutes long. At no point does Patrick Bet David ever figure out that what he's saying is that we all have mixed economies. Patrick Bet David, this is way over his head.
Aiming to understand the capitalist economy, I'd go with Marx any day, but not with the labor theory of value and not with most Marxists believe.
But Dolphin, I won't read that out loud, but I just want to tell you, I never check my TikTok messages. I don't go on TikTok. So if you're messaging me on TikTok, and I'm just not going to see them. I never use it.
Stay on that. If somebody, what countries would you say try to follow Marxist philosophy and miserably failed?
The Soviet Union.
So they miserably failed, and they were all about communism, right? They followed.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Look, how do I frame this?
It's like, I didn't know I was talking to somebody so stupid. I gotta figure this out.
The Soviet Union basically thought you could have a centrally controlled command economy. Okay, now that failed to grow anywhere near as fast as the capitalist economies did. So Marx's belief and the belief of the Soviets.
Yeah, no, I am in other lives sometimes. I do that when I'm driving. I'll listen, but I don't ever check my messages on TikTok. You're right about that. Sometimes I pop into live.
Was that socialism would grow so much faster and produce so many more goods for the workers that it would overwhelm capitalism by being more productive and giving a better salary to the workers. In fact, it failed on that front, and that's why, rather than, it wasn't the East, it wasn't the West that tore down the Berlin Wall to get into the Soviet Union. It was the opposite direction. So the system failed. But there's a brilliant Hungarian economist I'm sure you haven't heard of called János Kornai. Ever heard the name?
I haven't.
He knew before. There's a brilliant person. I'm certain you've never heard of them. Oh, okay. Have you heard of him? I have not.
Okay. János Kornai was a socialist economist in Hungary, and he's asked this question, why did the Soviet Union fail? And why did capitalism succeed? And what he looked at, he said, well, in the Soviet system, of course, when the Soviet Union began, it was in a feudal society. Russia in 1917 still had serfs. So we're talking about a very primitive, mainly agricultural society, very, very backward. And therefore, because you had the Soviets had the ambition of industrializing Russia, every last sector of the economy needed development goods, and they were trying to centrally plan each one. And what it meant was every sector got less than it needed. So they were all resource constrained. And when you're resource constrained, the best way to meet the physical targets you're given in the 5-year plan is to produce more of what you produced last year. You don't innovate. Okay? Whereas capitalism, in Kornai's analysis, is demand constrained. You've got lots of people producing cars, inadequate aggregate demand because you try to pay workers as low a wage as possible. So in that situation, you have more productive capacity than you need to supply the actual level of aggregate demand. So there's excess capacity everywhere. And the way that firms try to get the demand to come in through their doors rather than through a rival's door is by innovation. And so the constraints of capitalism give you innovation. The constraints of the Soviet system gave you no innovation. So that's what's Kornai's explanation for why the Soviet system failed. Now China has...
Do you guys think, yeah, you're with me, Dolphin. Patrick Bet has interrupted. He has no fucking clue. Just wait for his next question. I promise you're not ready. I promise you're not ready for his next question. It will not relate to this at all.
Studied both
now
Marx and the Russian and the Chinese and the Russian experience and Kornai's work as well. And they realized they had to find some way of guaranteeing innovation would occur at the level of consumer.
This is what I'm talking about right here. And this is why I say, like, this isn't for you. All you need to do is look up how many people died under communism, socialism, how many died under capitalism of starvation. John, we're going to explain this just one time. And only one time. People don't die of economic theories. There are no communist countries. There are no socialist countries. Russia tried and they couldn't even do it. Like they needed capital, so they started investing capital. Same with China. People died. The people that died under Mao, the people that died in Soviet Russia, did so because of corrupt governments, which exist regardless of your economic theory. It is a remarkably stupid position to take that it was the economic theory that killed people. And like we've all heard that argument 1 trillion times. You all have the same argument. Substantiate it. What was it about? Let's use Mao. What was it about socialism that killed people in China? Explain that to us. What was the socialist principle or communist principle that killed people in China?
Products. And they've done that.
Socialism came at me with a knife once. Oh, I didn't know that.
Centrally planned laying out the infrastructure. So the roads, the rail systems you see are all state-owned and state-managed. But in things like car manufacturing, I think it's about 120 Chinese car companies at the moment. Maybe won't last, but it means you've got 120 different companies competing for the share of the same market. They're innovating like crazy, and therefore...
Does that sound like the government owning everything and no competition in China? They recognized they started incentivizing building electric vehicles, and there were 120 companies, and then the best companies came out on top. Does that sound like the government controlling everything, and no innovation? The Chinese Communist Party? God damn, that sounds an awful lot like a free market to me.
Well, this Chinese system has got the best of both worlds in the sense they've got central planning for infrastructure and long-term development, and they're doing
Can you get rid of Richard Lynch? We don't do anti-Semitism here. The fuck out.
that quite brilliantly, and at the same time they've got enormous innovation taking place in the private sector, which is all driven by profitability and capitalist motivations and so on. So in terms of the country which succeeded from a Marxian foundation, it's definitely China.
Yeah, so if we were to judge the systems, what is the right way for us to judge?
When was China communist, Zionist king? When were they communist? Remember, the communism has no currency, no class system, no government. Period. When was China in the? Because I'm assuming you're referring to the times of Mao, right? He was they had a government then, a currency, and they had a class. They clearly had a class system because they were killing a class of people.
Judge economic systems, if it's communism and capitalism, to judge it. So like. To me, if a personal trainer comes up to me, Steve, and he says, "Hey, Pat, I want you to help you lose 40 pounds. But the guy's 300 pounds, 40% body fat, out of shape, but he wants to be a trainer to tell me I can help you get in shape," right? And so the average person will look at him and say, "How can you get me in shape if you're out of shape yourself?" What is the right way?
Easy, because helping somebody else get in shape has nothing to do with your personal health. You could tell somebody what to eat, what exercises to do, and they could get in shape despite you not being in shape. Patrick Bet David always tries to simplify things down to the dumbest fucking analogies. This one was perhaps the dumbest.
For us to judge an economical system, communism versus capitalism, to say, well, capitalism produced this, what did communism produce? Not much.
Thanks, Jessica, for joining the Dollar Train. Guys, about 20 minutes left. You want to help us knock out the remaining balance of that gift goal? That'd be greatly appreciated. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo are the way to go. Dollar Train would wipe it out quick, fast, and in a hurry. And then I don't get beat up by Jen.
You know,
now, hang on.
When you're talking about China, let me finish this. When you're talking about China, China even had to go and, sit down with Japan to find out how they were growing exponentially. And then finally they said, look, you got a couple banks in China. You need a lot of banks. You need thousands of banks that are doing what
China still has slaves. Guess what, bitch? So does America. Are you aware that we have slaves in America? You don't know about our prison system?
What they're doing. And then China finally listens and opened it up and realized they need a form of free market. Yes, they don't believe in free speech yet. They don't believe in a lot of that stuff, but they allowed guys
Which again, free speech isn't capitalism, right? You could have capitalism without free speech.
Ownership, and that changed. And so how do you judge success how should we judge
That's
success?
a great point, right? Like the Soviet Union went from being feudal backwater to a world superpower. I'm not sure how that is a failure. It's a great point.
That's between capitalism and communism.
Well, if you're going to use the America versus...
What's the difference between prison and slavery, Tyler? What's the difference? Arbitrary set of rules. If you break those arbitrary set of rules, then you go to prison. Choosing who is and is not a slave, it's arbitrary, right? You can decide, you can change those rules. What's the difference?
China result, China's rate of economic growth and China's lifting of people out of poverty transcends anything America's achieved over its time. So American industry has lost complexity, lost sophistication. China's increased its complexity, increased its sophistication, and since the Deng Xiaoping reforms, which are absolutely critical, occurred, you've had something like over 500 million people raised from out of absolute poverty. So
which they embrace
communists,
capitalism, right? They embrace an element of capitalism.
An element of capitalism.
Yeah, of course.
There's a tendency to be like a.
What was the single act that raised the most people out of poverty in our country's history? A single act that the government did that raised the most people out of poverty. While I read these, you guys can put it in the chat. What was it? Purdy Kiki, thank you. Big W for Purdy Kiki over on Cash App, sending $50. Said thank you, Jay, Jenna Mods. I appreciate that. And Hazel, thank you for sending in your Antifa dues. I don't think I missed there. It was Jen that had one. John said, do it for Johnny. Thanks, Johnny. Good to see you, buddy. And Jocelyn said, Dollar Train, thank you. Yeah, the new deal, Social Security. The New Deal. Would we call that capitalism? Probably not. Again, what Patrick Bet David doesn't seem to understand is he's asking, like, did capitalism win or did socialism win? And when the United States does anything well, he says it's capitalism. That's capitalism. When China does something well, he says, oh, it's because of capitalism. He just thinks all success equals capitalism. And once again, it's a mixed economy. It's always mixed. None of these economic theories are a great way to run a country because too many people think differently, and things are dynamic. They change. Sometimes opening up, having freer markets is a good thing. Sometimes regulation is a good thing. Sometimes the government can do things better than the free market. Sometimes the free market does things more efficiently than the government. So you just have to be open to like what actually works best. And Patrick Bet David cannot grasp this. He cannot. He's such a fucking capitalist diehard that he can't grasp that like none of these countries are operate under a single economic theory. Love all my fellow Antifa conspirators. Thank you, my lady Hernandez.
Board cutout attitude, capitalism versus communism, as if there's a standard version of both. Now, of course, there's dramatic variations in capitalist nations.
Yeah,
and
Chris said, LOL, you thought a presidential candidate was born in Mexico? Fair enough.
In communist nations. And like if I had to choose a communist nation, which, as well as suffering from American sanctions, is done very badly in its own form, I'd choose Cuba. Okay, having spent some time in Cuba. China is stunning at the other extreme, and you cannot believe
they're capitalism, though. I would put China as capitalist because their government is communism, but they're...
Go tell a single Republican that China is capitalist. Patrick, it's falling apart so bad now. It's like, oh, they're all capitalism. Who is investing in these companies in China largely? The government. The government's the investment, the capital that is being given to these companies is largely, in many instances, the government, and then they share in those profits. And he's like, it's capitalism, though. Juliet said, Dollar Train for the hubs and I.
They have a free market element that allows you to compete. It's not by force. You can have an opinion. You have an ability to build a business, and they watch others succeed, and they decided to copy what was working, which is America. So did Russia, in a sense. Wouldn't you agree on those two concepts?
No, I wouldn't.
So you would say that Russia and China are still 100% communist nations?
No, I'm not saying 100%. This is why I think you're trying to put things that are, black and white.
They can't. He just can't figure it out. This guy we're how many minutes in? Steve Keen now is 12 minutes in. He's spent 13 minutes trying to tell him, like, none of these countries are one or the other. And 13 minutes in, he's like, so they're either capitalist or communist, right? 100%. No, brother. No, Patrick Bet David. Jesus fucking Christ. Don't tell me that being rich makes you smart.
Pictures when everything is shades of grey.
Why don't we do this? Can you define what communism means to you? What is the definition of communism to you?
Look, we don't have communism anywhere on the planet, okay? Because when you look at Marx defined communism as once you get to the stage where people, each according to their ability, from each according to their ability, to each according to their needs. That sort of idealist system in the future. What you have is socialist versus capitalist, and in the socialist, if you had to get a pure statement of the ideologies of both systems, capitalism basically says, everybody out for themselves, get the best possible gain you can for yourself, and out of the self-interest and self-obsession, you'll get the best possible outcome.
That's your definition of capitalism? That it's only
it's one potential.
self-interest?
It's not the one that I.
It's mathematically impossible if it's only self-interest for you to
yes,
succeed.
that's true. That's true.
It's impossible.
And that's an important point. Both systems are impossible in their extremes, and there's a tendency in
boom. Think Patrick Bet David will figure that out yet?
Western thinking to go left versus right, one extreme versus another extreme.
Not necessarily. I'm more interested in being specific. You've been doing this for 50 years. I've talked to a lot of different economists. I enjoyed my conversation with Richard Wolff, who's a socialist. Yeah. I've spoken to Slavoj Žižek, who is more of a communist himself, and we had a very good conversation. I've sat down with Ray Dalio.
Tyler, debt bondage is a form of slavery. Look up debt bondage. It's a form of slavery, and then shut the fuck up.
We've sat down with a lot of billionaires. We've sat down with a lot of heads of states and presidents. If we were to put a percentage to it, Steve, and say taxes, because to me, capitalism, socialism, communism can be tied to percentage of taxes.
That's fucking stupid though, right? Patrick Bet David, that's really fucking stupid because there is no set taxation. You can have high or low taxes in capitalism or socialism or well, not even communism because there's no currency, but socialism or capitalism, it doesn't matter if the taxes are high or fucking low. It doesn't matter at all. That's just what dumb people say who have been propagandized to believe that capitalism means low taxes. Capitalism is simply who owns the labor. Whether it is privately owned or if it is publicly owned, that's the difference between the two. Taxation rates have nothing to do with either of them.
Communism is the state owns everything and they, seize the means of production. So it's 100% taxes. You don't have.
Yes, Tyler, debt bondage is a form of slavery. Yes, thank you. We're done with this now. You're done talking about slavery.
The ability to build anything. And maybe capitalism is going to be a lower rate of taxes. You pick and choose where you want it to be, 10% flat, 30%, or some states want to do progressive. I know you guys in your state just launched that if somebody decides to sell, you could end your capital gains just went to the roof depending on what time frame you sell it in. And then socialism could be in the middle.
How could capital gains, the gains you make from your capital, be socialism? It is the gains on your capital. The root word of capitalism is capital. That's fucking. It gets a lot of views. Again, I mean, this video only has like 30,000 views. It was way over the head of all of his guests, his followers.
How would you describe those three economical systems specifically tied to percentage that people pay in taxes? Because that's how clear would make it for the average person.
How many rocks do you need to eat a banana? Because that'll make it clear. How many rocks do you need to eat a banana? It's fucking unrelated, Patrick Bet David. The tax rate is unrelated to these economic theories.
I think it's a percentage of the services that are provided by the state rather than provided by the market. And in that sense, the socialist economies tend to be 50-50 or more provided by the state. Capitalist less than 50-50. But as time has gone on, there's more and more things that are needed for a sophisticated society that are what you can call public goods. So, for example, health. My health affects your health. If I come down with a communicative disease, you're going to catch it. So there's ways in which that's a public good rather than just a private good. Now, there's an enormous range of things that are like that now. Education, we all benefit from an educated workforce. We suffer from a dumb one.
Patrick Bet David actually benefits from an uneducated group of people, though. He wouldn't have an audience if people were well educated on economics. Nobody would give a fuck what he has to say. So some people do very well with having a dumb, uneducated audience. Also, the Republican Party wouldn't exist without uneducated people.
Education is a public good. Health is a public good. Transportation, to some extent, is a public good because if it's easy for workers to get from one point to another without paying a great deal of money, then it makes it cheaper to hire those workers because your wages don't have to cover high transportation costs for them to get to the factories. So there's a division between what is a public good and is better provided in a public.
No, Kev, there's not enough of you dipshits for my audience. Like, my audience is mostly made up of people who understand what I'm saying, and then there's like a handful of Kevins that we kind of collectively mock together. So I guess like a little bit, yeah, maybe a little bit, we rely on uneducated dipshits.
Environment, and what is a private good, things like television sets and fancy restaurants and so on, which are best provided by the private sector. And there's also a time dimension to it. When you're looking at normally ordinary consumer goods, there's plenty of potential for a manufacturer to make a profit out of things like television sets and so on. You can't make a profit of the same scale up to sewage systems. If you leave those sorts of things for profit-oriented providers.
That's a good point. The uneducated dipshits aren't the audience; they're the content. That's a good point.
In the first instance to provide, you'll have less sewage than they need. So I think that's really, it's a division between the extent to which goods are provided by the state system as just part of the fact that you're a citizen versus having to pay for them. And the socialist economies will have more of that. And I think that's actually, in effect, that's the trend we've been going through over time, because 150 years ago, you didn't worry about sewerage. You had shit running down, the streets of London into the Thames River. If you move to a more advanced and sophisticated society, we can't tolerate that. And that means you have the state providing those services.
Well, the extremes on both sides are insanely idiotic. The problem is that everything has moved left, with the left end of the spectrum becoming completely unhinged. My brother in Christ, your name has Bitcoin in it. You are literally promoting a Ponzi scheme that is obvious to everybody with an education, and you are talking about the left becoming completely unhinged. Got it. Why is the left unhinged? Because we want healthcare. We think single payer healthcare makes a lot of sense. Name one position that the far left has currently. Name the position and the person supporting that position that is idiotic or insane, and perhaps get that Ponzi scheme out of your username.
If you leave it to the private.
If you think Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme, you have no clue how it works.
Oh, let's figure out how it works. How does the value of Bitcoin go up? How does it go up? When more people buy it, right? Does it keep going up if people stop buying it? If people stop investing, does it keep going up? No, it doesn't, does it? What if people sell it? Then what happens? The value goes down. So it requires new buyers to increase in value, right? There's no inherent value. Yeah. That's close. Pretty fucking close to a Ponzi scheme, wouldn't you say?
Sector, those services will break down.
Those services would break down. I mean, a lot of people would say anything produced by the government, it's shittier customer service. They treat you horrible. They can make.
I'm sorry, I didn't know capitalism was measured by customer service satisfaction. But if we're going to do that, let's compare things. Let's compare private health insurance and the VA. The VA is excoriated consistently. But did you know that when polled, people that have health insurance and treatment through the VA are overall more satisfied than people with private health insurance? Did you know that people on Medicare are happier with their service than people with private health insurance? There's a perfect example of a public versus private good that's doing the same thing. And the customer service is better, outcomes are better. And you're going to have a bunch of MAGA people in the chat be like, no, that's bullshit. And it's just because it's their ideology. They are not allowed to ever admit that sometimes the government has better outcomes, because if they do that, then they have to take their dick out of capitalism and admit that it's flawed.
You can wait as long as possible. And free market, if they do that, they get complaints, and those complaints hurt their business. But the state doesn't have competition. What would the state?
I don't know. I don't think people are very happy with oil companies right now. They have record profits. I don't think people are happy with private health insurance. They have record profits. It doesn't seem like these complaints are doing much. For fuck's sake, somebody shot one of the CEOs in the street. Didn't change a goddamn thing. Public perception of private health insurance companies are that they're all scammers, and yet record profits. Everybody knows we're being scammed by the oil companies. Record profits. What are you referencing here, PBD?
Worry about if they don't treat you well. They have a different energy when they talk to certain people. I was in the U.S. Army. I was in the military, and I've dealt with the state for a long time. I've never.
You were in a government-funded military? Why isn't it a private military, Patrick? How come our military is not private there, Patrick? I wonder.
Seen any customer service on how they treat people be better that's ran by the state than ran on the free market side?
When I was in China the first time, which was 81, 82, I ran a seminar between Australian journalists and Chinese journalists, which was observed by a large number of students of journalism in China. This is the beginning
About 9 minutes left. He's going to share this story. Guys, I don't want to stop it again on donations. We're pretty close. If you want to help us knock out that gift goal, we probably got about 15 more minutes left, and then we'll get out of here. I'll try not to stop it too much more.
China having not a free press, but a press system. And the one thing the students were most
Sorry, real
fascinated...
quick. Mute Bob. Bob, I've said 400,000 fucking times that none of us are communists, so you're muted for the rest of the time. If we tell you a million times we're not communists and you keep calling us communists, you just got to go somewhere else. Get rid of Bob.
By that I unfortunately did not give them information on for various reasons was the ombudsman system that Australia had, which had copied from Sweden. And the ombudsman system put controls and monitoring sets on public servants. Now, it seems that China has implemented that. If you become a bureaucrat in China, you have a set of guidelines that you're required to reach. And if you don't reach them, you either get sacked or you don't get promoted, and you get ossified. And that seems to be a large part of why the public services in China seem extremely well provided, and certainly better than what you get in America.
You said certainly better than what you get in America. So
transportation,
you feel,
public transportation.
So you feel service is going to be better.
Oh my God, he's talking about public transportation. Patrick Bet David is so fucking dumb. Watch him not talk about transportation.
By the government than free market. What does the government lose? They don't have an alternative competition.
The best example of free market failing America is your health system. Would you agree with that?
No, I don't think so. I think we have a great health system. I think.
Do you now? It costs three times as much as the rest of the world.
Do you think?
You pay about 3 times as much per head for health as most Western nations do.
Our capita per GDP is also higher. If Australia was a state with us,
What? Your capita per GDP? Bitch, we're talking about healthcare. We're talking about health insurance. What in the goddamn fuck is this dipshit saying right now? What the fuck? Capita per... I don't even know what the fuck he's saying. Capita per GDP? What is... what's he even referencing here?
Would be number 40. If UK was a state, it would be behind Mississippi at 51.
That's total GDP, not per capita. That's total GDP. I don't know if these numbers are correct, but he's talking about total GDP. We were talking about health insurance, you dumb bitch. How the fuck did you get here?
So it's also capitalism's brought more people out of poverty in U.S. than any other country in the world. I'm surprised you're fighting this, but...
I'm surprised you're fighting it as well, because you're making claims.
It's the reason why I live here. I escaped Iran to come live in America because I have an incredible life. And by the way, I'm surprised the level of tension you have in defending communism, a failed economical system.
I feel for him because I deal with the same shit every day. Patrick Bet David is every dumb motherfucker in our chat. This man has spent 20 minutes saying, I'm not a communist. I think all of these economic theories are flawed. I think we should study the economy, not starting with a theory. We shouldn't have ideologies. We should just look at the economy. And here comes Patrick Bet David. I'm surprised at how much you're defending communism. Where the fuck you been, dude? Where the fuck have you been?
Surprised.
I'm surprised by this stuff, mate. You are not letting this is. I'm sorry, but I'm finding this a very black and white conversation when I prefer to work in shades of grey. As I was
Feel
saying
free to make it
beforehand.
colorful. I mean, go ahead if you want to make it colorful.
Color is. I mean, I meant to mention about the medical. Now, you say the medical system in the States is fine. You have a lower life expectancy than virtually every other major Western nation.
True. We die sooner, and we pay 3 times more.
I don't know the actual numbers, but I think the life expectancy in America is of the order of about 74 or 78, I think it is.
78.
And the most of the rest of the world, it's 84. And you pay about 3 times as much per capita for the health system. And the reason health works very badly as a private good is because when you find you're dying of a fatal disease, or you don't have any bargaining power. If you find you've got a disease you need the best doctor for, you'll pay.
That's the Republican. It's because we're not healthy. Okay, so let's be unhealthy and pay 3 times less. How about that? What if we paid less and we're still unhealthy then? Wouldn't we? That's not an argument. It's not. It's silly. We die sooner and we're unhealthy, so we should pay 3 times more. What if we paid 3 times less and still just died at the same age? I'd be fine with that.
Best
I think a lot of people would say on that side. How do you like Robert Kennedy? How do you feel about RFK?
I think he's a fool.
You think he's a fraud?
Fool.
I think he's weird. I mean, his attitudes to vaccines, the idea that you should catch diseases, and
no, I'm defending math, William. Shut the fuck up. It's math. It's simple math. We pay more because there's profit. We pay more because people invest in health insurance companies. They require dividends. The CEOs get massive bonuses. They pay for trips. They pay for vacations. They pay for all advertising. They pay for massive buildings, private jets, and all of that comes from us. We pay for all of that. Countries that don't have private health insurance have cheaper health insurance because they don't pay for the extra shit. It's math. 1 + 1 is 2. No, it's not. 1 + 1 is communism.
You can have herd immunity from exposure to diseases.
Do you agree with
None
them?
of that
Do you
was
agree
true.
with them? Do you agree with them on the types of?
Sadly, if you live in a Republican-run state or country, you die on average 10 years younger, have higher disease and obesity, higher infant mortality. Red states bring down the average seriously.
Food that we eat in America is a lot worse than other places because
that he's definitely right on.
Okay, so you agree with them on that. So what do you disagree with them on?
Belief that vaccines cause diseases.
So
autism,
you don't think that the studies that show that in the last 50 years, and this is the part that you and I may actually agree on. You don't think, Steve, that these big pharmaceutical companies have benefited from increasing from the average kid would get 5 vaccines, 3 vaccines back 50 years ago, and now they're getting anywhere between 50 to 72 vaccines. You don't think financially that's benefited big pharma in America?
Why don't you like RFK? Because RFK says vaccines cause autism. Wait, so you don't think that pharmaceutical companies are making money? Bro, this guy's an idiot. He's just a fucking idiot. I don't know how did he get there? How'd that even fucking happen? Why don't you like RFK? Because he lies and says that if you get a vaccine, you get autism. Okay, so you're saying that they don't make money? Bro, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Poor Steve Keen. Like, I just want to give him a hug. You probably didn't know he was this stupid.
Well, certainly it has, but now you're being a critic of capitalism.
Okay? I am with pharma.
Okay. So
I am with pharma.
I said my Queen Latifah dues.
Because they force down. You see, to me, I have the ability to reason and see the flaws in certain areas and weaknesses. I'm very comfortable doing that.
You're very bad at that. You're very fucking bad at that. You might be comfortable, but that is arrogance, and it is not warranted.
That's not something I'm uncomfortable with. I do think, with the help of the state, they forced these vaccines on kids. And if we go look at stats, because I know you like stats as an economist, it's not hard to see what number of kids were getting autism 50 years ago versus today. Have you looked at those numbers?
Yes.
I'm not a political person, and I've seen arguments from people I know who are medical researchers say those stats are nonsense. I'm certainly not going to get involved in saying.
I love that they completely rule out diagnosis. I love that they completely rule out scientific innovation and scientific discovery and decades of studying why are certain kids, or like why are some kids a certain way and other kids a different way. And you know what? Like 10 years from now, we'll have an even better understanding. They just throw out all scientific research and they're like, it was probably the vaccine. That's what it was. I don't want to read any studies. Scientists suck. Research sucks. It's just the vaccines.
So, I mean, so you're saying the stats
the anti-vaccine, like, I'll give you one
This
reason.
narrator is a straight knucklehead, and I am a black Democrat, you bona fide idiot. Cool! That was cool! Who gives a fuck what... All right, sorry for being a knucklehead. My bad, dude. I love you. That's crazy. Why did you being a black Democrat matter at all in that sentence? That's great. I'm not a Democrat.
And why I'm pro-vaccines. My father had polio. I didn't. Okay, but certainly for big pharma making money out of unnecessary drugs, for sure, and that's one reason you need a state system. And it may be that health in general is better at the state level, where it's provided and state health is guaranteed in that sense, rather than being something you can only afford an operation if you have the money for it, or you have the insurance cover from your private company, which is very much an American thing. It's not the rest of the world.
Got it. But when you're looking at
he doesn't got it.
Numbers. I mean, these are numbers that's coming from the state, an organization you trust, right?
These are numbers that are coming from the states, plural, an organization that you trust. It's not. Huh? Fuck does that even mean? What does that mean? This man makes money, lots of money, to say what he says. He has sponsors and shit. What does that mean?
Hang on, please. You're doing a caricature of me here. I'm a critic of the state. I've worked in state. I used to regard the Department of Trade, which I worked in at one stage, as a retirement center.
Are you familiar with
I'm giving you the numbers from the CDC, which are not individual states. It is an entirely different organization, which he has not given us his opinion on whether or not he trusts the CDC.
CDC?
The Center for Disease Control. Yes.
Okay, so this is coming from CDC.
Okay.
You brought up vaccine. Nowhere in my notes was I planning on going into vaccines. I was going to, you talked about
you asked me about John Kennedy. What do you expect me to say?
No,
back?
I don't have. I'm glad you did. I'm glad
Robert, what do you think about RFK? I can't believe you brought up vaccines. That's crazy.
Since you did, let's look at some numbers, because you're a numbers guy, you're an economist. So in 1970s, in America, according to CDC, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. 1995 was 1 in 500. 2000 was 1 in 150. 2010 is 1 in 68. 2020 is 1 in 36. The latest is 1 in 30. About 4.9% of boys today are identified as autistic. 1.4% of girls. How do you think that happened? Should we not consider vaccine as possibly?
I don't know. Maybe read the conclusion from the report you're reading. Maybe go to the end where it says what they conclude. And what they conclude is that increasing autism rates are primarily driven by improved diagnostic screening, broader definitions of the disorder, and increased community awareness. Numbers guy, read to the end, you dumb bitch. Read to the fucking end. It gives you the answer at the end. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen to this Harry Potter guy. There's no way to really find out. Read to the end. Go to the conclusion, Patrick. In the report that you're citing, it tells you what they concluded. Well, you don't think it's the vaccines? Nope. You know why? Because they did a whole fucking study, and they concluded it was not the vaccines.
One of the reasons for it?
Well, we can probably think sunshine or God knows what else is.
You think sunshine causes autism?
Like, I'm just saying it's a silly argument, and I'm not going to. I don't see any point in having this conversation.
But you you brought it up, and
you brought up John Kennedy. I mentioned vaccines as well. You said, do I like John Kennedy? I instantly said, I had no intention of discussing vaccines. And let's talk about something that's actually my area of expertise.
No, but you brought this up, and you had strong opinions, and I'm just sharing.
You said John F. Kennedy. What do you expect me to say if you raise Robert Kennedy?
Yeah, I think Robert Kennedy, he's a guy that brought up
Why did you raise Robert Kennedy?
Because
why did you raise him in the first place?
I'll tell you exactly why I raised it, because you said the healthcare is the issue in America, and I said he brought up the food that we eat in America is a lot more processed than other states. I was going in the food direction. True. You went to vaccine. I never brought up vaccine. You brought up vaccine.
Okay, well, let's go back to food.
We asked a tough question. What do you think of RFK? What's he most known for? Being an vaccine skeptic. But that was crazy. The Patrick Bet David, the numbers guy, brings up the CDC numbers and then doesn't go to the conclusion.
Okay, but no, let's stay on that. Let's stay on vaccine if you brought it up, and let's just move on past this because you brought it up. How do you feel when you see data if an average person like me or you who is not in this
below average
space, you're a thinker, right? And if you see we go from 1 in 10,000 autistic rate to now 1 in 31, according to
Nasri says I'm a Black Latifah Antifa supporter. Man, that's important.
CDC, not pharma. What do you think could be those reasons?
Different definitions of autism.
Such as,
which is exactly what they said. Again, improved diagnostic screening, broader definitions of the disorder. He's right. He doesn't even have the study in front of him. This guy has the study in front of him. This guy doesn't. This guy, without the study in front of him, is coming to the conclusions that are drawn by the study, and this guy can't read to the end.
If I think back to my school class 50 years ago, there's about half a dozen kids I could classify.
Almost like it's a spectrum. Almost.
I was autistic today who wouldn't have been called that 50 years ago. But in terms of, I've vaguely seen some research contradicting the argument there's any relationship between vaccines and autism, and I have no expertise and I have no interest in the topic.
That's correct, Alabama anarchist. You are autistic because of communism. That's correct. That's where it came from.
I figured that makes sense why you wouldn't have any interest. When we set out to create,
that was it. This is the shoe he makes, by the way.
Create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury.
Bro, you remade Skechers.
Choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship. Each pair touched
bitch is selling really expensive Skechers
by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright.
I don't know why he looks confused every time.
Collection. Not rushed.
That's the new Lions, not sheep. All right, we went way over. Let me check. Jen, did I miss any messages? I wonder
No, I don't think so.
Oh, what took so long?
I was trying to get my phone off of mute. I was talking to Duke, and I was trying to get my phone off mute.
All right. Any last words from the Duke?
I've got nothing.
So there's
you got nothing. So, you got something. Don't talk about yourself in that way. You got something, Duke. We all see it in you. You're going places. Thanks for joining us, man. It was good to meet you.
Yeah, it's good to meet you too.
All right, Jen. Any last words from you?
I had to tell him, that sometimes your behavior doesn't. I don't support everything you say and do. So I had to.
Me? So. What are you talking about? I was calm, cool, and collected all day today.
Always.
All right.
Very, very.
Anything else you want to say to the people?
You reminded everybody no tomorrow.
Yeah, no show tomorrow. I have to go to court tomorrow. Tonight, we do have the members-only event at 6 Pacific Standard Time. You need to be a paid member either on YouTube, Twitch, or TikTok. If you haven't already joined the Discord, you can do that for free. But if you are a paid member and you want to get into that section of the Discord, you just need to message Jen. She'll make sure you get in there. We're going to watch that CNN documentary called, what's it called? Like the something about the left. Something about how we're coming to get you or something. I have no idea if it's going to be good or not. I like Donnie O'Sullivan, so we'll see how that goes. Other than that, guys, I will see you Friday morning and most weekday mornings, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here wherever you watched today. And sometimes on TikTok when they don't take us down for Andrew Callahan. Somebody message Andrew Callahan and tell him That was rude of him to get my TikTok taken down. Guys, until I see you tomorrow, take care of yourselves. Go outside and touch grass. If you can't touch grass, smoke grass. Maybe do both. But if you can't do both or either one of those two, best of luck to you. I don't really have any other solutions. Reach down, find your bootstraps, pull yourself up by those bootstraps, and then put those boots on the ground and go do something good. But before you do it, find a mirror, look in that mirror, and say something nice about yourself. Hydrate, drink some water, take some water with you. It's very important as these summer months continue to roll on. Here in Arizona, we got a blistery like 110 today. So make sure you're staying hydrated. When you're outside with those boots on the ground doing some good, be nice to the people you come in contact with. But most importantly, be nice to yourself. And until I see you guys Friday morning, bright and early, I hope that you have a wonderful Thursday. Go find a different creator to support or take some time off from politics. It's always good to take a little breath away. To our MAGA friends who I pissed off today, I love you. I hope you'll come back again. We thoroughly enjoy having you here. But until I see you guys again next time, take care of yourselves, stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.